We will call the meeting to order.
Mayor
If we can
Gregory
have roll call.
Freebold. Mayor Gregory Freebold.
Here.
Vice Mayor Robert Shalhoub.
Here.
President Pro Tem Valteen Rodriguez.
Here.
Councilmember Robert Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilmember John Maples.
Here. Okay, very good. Father Peter, you have the floor. Please bless us with your words of wisdom.
O Lord Jesus Christ, our God, you have come so many times to us and found no resting place in our hearts. Forgive us for our overcrowded lives and our preoccupation with ourselves. O Lord, we humbly ask you, find a place to be born within us, where mercy, peace, and joy may be created within us. Help us to clear away the clutter and shut out the noise, so that we may receive your light into our darkness. Help us to share your abundant mercies and gifts, especially with those who are hungry and in need, the suffering and the oppressed, not only here in our community, but throughout the world. May the blessings and the love of the celebration of your birth permeate our hearts during the season and be a constant source of light and love in the year to come. Amen.
Lead us in the pledge.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Father.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We'll get started here with audience comments. I'm going to go Ashok. You're first.
I mentioned it depends on the agenda.
Well, I know you want to talk about the petition, which is fine, but did you want to talk also here? Or you just want to wait for that?
Think
Your opportunity to have two chances.
think you want.
Should we wait to speak on topic?
Pardon me?
Should we just, I don't know some of the participants, should we wait to speak on topic?
You get your audience comments in, and then when we are on the other stuff, everybody will have a chance to talk also.
Maybe if you want to speak first, you did.
There are cards out there if you want to fill out the cards so that we're all on the same page. We know which direction we want to go. All right, Ashok, you got the floor.
Good evening. My name is Ashok Kulkarni. Address 8131 Westlake Drive. As I mentioned before, in the agenda, there is a mention about septic, that is septic to sewer.
Okay.
And actually, that's one of the reasons I wanted to speak at that time, not upfront.
You'll get an opportunity.
But anyway, let me make my own comments.
Okay.
The first thing is that in our town, septic tanks are there for almost last 50 years. So actually, they are not causing any pollution in the lake because lake has connection. It's not a separate lake, intracoastal and everything else, number one. And secondly, I also notice that town almost paid $1,200,000 already.
Mhm.
And the date is (2016). This goes that far back and still it is not decided, which is really amazing. Number two.
Right.
Thirdly, I noticed when the consultants were hired, they split the people who are on Palm Spring water, they were secluded and others are included. So I'm wondering what was the basis of that? Their water comes from other source, other residents?
Because this only affects the 702 homes that are here. The north side of Lake Clark Shores is not part of the Lake Clark Shores service area. And there's those series of homes over there by you that are on Palm Springs services.
Right, but
So
question is that if town is going to convert, isn't it a good idea? Entire town ought to be considered, because if you are going to split into parts, that will be very.
We're not
problematic.
splitting it into parts. The people did that and previous councils did that. We're not splitting it. It's the way it is.
Yeah, but previous council did it. At the present council, they should correct it, that doesn't sound.
We can't correct that. We can't go back and get the water service area back from the north side or from Palm Springs. We can't do that. They might sell it to us, but I don't think that we can go get it back.
Oh.
Those people that are over there, Ashok, and we've had this discussion, you were the ones that wanted to go with the Palm Springs service area, which was fine. You got that through Malcolm Lewis. That was over a $25 surcharge. That's been over 20 years, I believe now. I don't have the exact numbers, but that's about where it's at.
Whatever it is, I'm just architect and city planner are thinking that when there is such a change, major change in the town, it should be really combined together within the town, that's the way I was thinking.
Okay,
So anyway,
okay.
so that was one comment. Secondly, okay. My another question is that people, their actually system is going to be changed. Their water supply is from other place, not from Palm Springs?
No, the town of Lake Clark Shores just purchases and moves water. That's what we do. We don't have a water treatment facility. We don't have any of that. We have a service area that we cover. We buy water from the county, from Lake Worth,
Beach.
and some of it from Boynton Beach and even Palm Beach
Oh, so
County.
it comes from different sources.
And-
Yeah,
not just the-
and we just pipe it in.
Oh, okay,
But we, the town of Lake Clark Shores, handle 702 homes within this service area.
okay.
The rest of them are on the county and the rest of them are on Palm Springs. So we're going to go back to this.
Oh,
So
okay.
you had something on here. I'm going to give you real quick about new,
Right.
is that new barrier? You wrote me a note here, said agenda item, number 9.
What is that item?
We tabled that one. So we're going to come back to that. I think that's the
That's okay.
traffic study.
Yeah.
We're going to come back to that. So we'll
That's
talk
fine.
about that at another
Okay.
time. That's going to be taken off here.
Anyway,
Okay?
okay, before I leave,
Okay.
let me in advance wish you all Merry Christmas and Happy
Thank
New Year. And for the audience,
Happy holidays.
Thank you,
Merry
Ashok.
Christmas, Ashok. Thank you so much.
Okay, Tim, you're up.
Tim Daughtry, 1410 Keller Road. The first thing I want to talk about.
Thank you.
is Millage rates and taxes. Okay, this is the 2023 final millage rates for the entire county. And you'll see.
Thank you, Mr. Daughtry.
There's only a couple of governmental entities that have higher millage rates than us, okay? They are Magnolia Park, Pahokee, South Bay, and Belle Glade. When we had our discussion of the budget, we said we're going to roll back our taxes so there would be no raise in taxes to residents that are homesteaded. I will say this, my tax bill came and my taxes did go up even though I'm homesteaded, okay? Not by much, but they were. But if we're talking about metrics, we need to look at our surrounding areas near us. And we have unincorporated, obviously, Palm Springs, Lake Worth Beach, and West Palm Beach that are adjoining to Lake Clark. All of them have lower total millage rates than us, okay? We need to look at where we're spending our money and how much we're spending our money. We need to rein it in, okay? Second, roads. Pine Tree is falling apart, Pine Tree Road. We need to do something about it, okay? It was suggested to me that I bring in pictures of specific areas in Pine Tree that need to be repaired. Fact is, I got so many pictures, I don't know what to do with them. There's that many holes in the road. We specifically also have one intersection that's continually underwater there. We need to address Pine Tree. We need to address Pine Tree. It's falling apart. It's totally falling apart. I walk that area continually and it's getting dangerous. Okay. And then the third thing I want to talk about is pedestrian safety, especially with the change in time. And I've mentioned this before. We need to be cognizant of people who are walking this road, especially in the early morning or in the evening when it's dark outside. I'm on these roads at that time, and I'll be honest with you, I've nearly hit people any number of times. We need to get and procure reflective vests and flashers, and that would be a small cost that our police officers could give out to people that they find are walking the streets at those hours and don't have reflective vests or bright shirts or whatever, or flashers on them so they can be safe. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any other audience comments at this moment? No? Oh, yes, come right up. Just give us your name and address, please, ma'am.
Victoria Prinzi, 1411 Corandis. I got to follow you more often. He was the perfect lead into what I have to talk about. I have called in remotely a few times. I wasn't in the area, but I'm here now and I kind of don't like talking in remote because like you guys just like cut me off and then it's over before there's any resolution. Not that you cut me off, it just kind of happens being a remote person. So anyway, 2 times, this will be the 3rd time I'm bringing up this topic. And it's on the, when the police come and monitor homes that people who are not here on vacation. Okay? So I think the police chief, is he here? Is that you, sir? Did you say last time it was like 30 a day sometimes?
Sometimes we have a peak, but it's done when the officers aren't busy.
Okay.
We-
So just looking at that, and of course, I just have to make some estimates to go on what the cost is here. And I agree with that gentleman. When you're in the smaller you are, the more you have to look at every expense where you can cut. When you're a really big corporation, you can cut like payroll and that'll do the job. But when you're in a small environment like this, you have to watch every penny. If we're going to keep our taxes low, it's not just for this year, it's for the future. It's for the upcoming years that look like it's going to continue as such. Anyway, so if the police are going 30, I have a net gain of 100,000 on my estimate. And I'll tell you a year net gain. And this is, and maybe even 1 policeman less, which would then add to another $40,000 a year. If it's 30 a day, 30 people, like the chief said, and the homes that I know in my area, and they're small homes, or the police is there for about 15 minutes. And I live in small 3-2 areas. I don't live in the bigger homes on the lake. I'm on a small canal. So if they're 15 minutes at 30 people at 30 homes, that's 450 minutes. That's 7.5 hours a day. That's a whole person. That's a whole shift. 7 hours a day. So if I was just being, because I know it wasn't 30 a day.
During the summer, that's the peak, but on average, it's about a dozen a day. But during the summer, sometimes it'll peak at 30.
Well, I only estimated for half a year, figuring it wasn't all that much anyway. So I didn't estimate for 365.
They're not checked just on days. We split them up. They'll do some on days, some on evenings. So it's split up.
But once during a 24-hour period.
And you're talking maybe
1
2
to
to 3 minutes to walk
per
around a house.
It happens next to me. It's not 2 or 3. I've seen this go on for the 10 years I lived here, the same house 6 months a year. It's not 3 minutes. They come in, they write a report, it goes back to the office, there's administrative work. It's not 3 minutes.
We don't.
And that's a small house. So anyway, and the police are, the average that is on public information on a website in Palm Beach County, the average police salary, I didn't include like the chief or anybody like that, is like 40,000. So if I look at that, that's like almost 50,000 a year, and I'm only looking at half a year. So I propose this. Whenever we bring it up, you guys are like, really? What do we do every day? How many? So obviously the board hasn't known, but I'm hoping since I brought it up from July, you've educated yourself on what this is. So that's a cost, but we can turn that into a revenue, and I think it would be fair. Whenever anybody gives anything away, it's not unlimited. This is all free to whoever. So I think it would be fair if we did something like you get 2 free weeks a year. You know, don't like be mean to people. I'm not trying to Grinch your Christmas here, but you know, something reasonable like 2 free weeks and everybody else pays. In other words, if you're out for 6 months, you're going to pay or get security, do something, but that's not fair to us to provide it for free. It's not fair to the rest of us. So if we look at that charge, that brings us almost the same amount we're spending is what we'll bring in as revenue. So whatever the cost is, if I'm off, it's going to be the same on revenue with all things considered.
Okay.
So, you know, maybe like $10 a day that you would charge, and, you know, we'll make a little bit of money.
Okay. I got it. We'll take it under advisement.
This is the third time you said that.
We have an
I wanna
officer that
talk
stands
about
right
it.
back there in the back of that room, Victoria, works here for us for free. What do we do with him when he's doing these house checks and he's doing it for free?
Oh, listen, are we going to like just bring up?
No, we're just-
anything
we're-
you can counteract?
Well, that's how this works. Yes. We tell you what we've been doing. So we have it very good. We have a very busy agenda. We've heard this. They're looking at it. So
Who is? That's what I'd like to know. I called
Administration,
the
the
police
chief.
department and there's been no action on it.
I know.
And I brought this up in July, so don't be
we're not
mean to
taking
me.
audience. When you want to come up, Jen, you can come up to the microphone. We're good to go. We hear you. We hear you. It just doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes the wheels of government move very slowly.
Can you just give me some estimate of what we're looking at here, like concept wise, like maybe we'll look at it in the summer? I don't care if you are, that's
We'll look
fair.
at it in the summer, and I don't think that giving them 2 free weeks is an unreasonable thing. So we'll look at that.
Okay, I'll be back in a few months.
Okay,
Thank you.
fantastic.
Oh, wait, one more thing I wanted to say, sorry, this is important. It's what he says about the safety. I live on Corandis Circle. I brought it up to the last mayor. He was looking, but he's not here. So I don't know what happened. I talked to him personally about it like 4 or 5 times. My street, Corandis Circle, in 2 hurricanes, over many years, like 15 years, one like less in a shorter time, we lost our street lights. At the end of our street, it's a cul-de-sac. And there is one street light there, but it's so dark when I live on the north side of Forest Hill. So when you come off, there's the stop sign. From there on, it's black. I live on that street. I go 2 miles an hour because I know how bad it is. I don't speed. I've almost hit people like once a month. You just don't see anybody. It's too black. I'm like thankful for the Christmas lights I could see. So that's all I wanted to say. I
Okay.
know the mayor was looking at getting them replaced, but he's not here, so.
Thank you. Catherine, you're up.
Wasn't going to talk today, but now I am.
That's okay.
Catherine Workman, 803 Pine Tree Lane. And this is response to that is when police come and check a house, they're also checking everyone else in the neighborhood. So thank you and continue to do it at no cost.
Thank you.
The second thing is you want to save money. I don't believe in providing citizens with anything. They can buy their own vest, their own wristbands. It's a cost that we don't need to incur.
I agree. Catherine, can I ask you a question? Because I know you were part of CERT. When they were in CERT, did they provide all of the safety equipment for the CERT
Yes.
operators
Yes.
there? They did. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
That comes from FEMA. They give us a bag with all
Yeah.
the stuff.
So it's subsidized.
Yes.
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 We went through training,
No, I understand, but still, it was subsidized. I just
but I
wanted to
don't
find
want
out.
my tax money paying for people
Who don't want to
who
wear
don't want to
reflective
wear
clothing.
or
Because
be
I'm on the
vigilant.
streets early in the morning every single day, just like everybody else. And there are people still to this day that won't when there's a lot of traffic, they won't scoot over. They wear dark clothing. I think one of the council members had a whole initiative going to get,
Bobby.
to get reflective bands going. How did that go?
That was at his own cost.
That
Yeah.
was at my cost. It went well.
It did have God's
and,
law service on it, but
There's a phone number, but it went well until we ran out, and you know, it's frustrating that some folks are provided it and still don't want to wear it. But I think a lot of it lies in education, and please, if anybody's out in the internet or sees this tomorrow or the next day, or for the folks that are here, wear reflective stuff and wear it kind of below the knee, actually, because your headlights are actually angled from the waist down. So the vests are really great if you're really far away, but once you get up close, the effectiveness of that vest is actually good to have it kind of on your ankle. You see a lot of tow
Just
truck
to
drivers.
reiterate, I don't want to spend any money.
Yeah.
People can deal with things themselves.
thank you.
Correct.
Yes. Fran?
Fran Carlton, 8432 Waterway Drive. I wasn't going to speak during this part either, but now I've had a couple of people that I feel like I need to address. One is I am a great believer in safety, and we need to protect the people that are walking. But I think that we first need to do a major, and we can do it in the buzz, we can do it maybe when we have the barbecue and every other event. Maybe we need to get some signs that are not too expensive and in the buzz to put wearing light apparel, particularly if, and that was very educational to me, thank you, particularly on the bottom, but to wear light clothing if you walk in the, I mean, if we say it enough, somebody may hear it. If we have it on signs enough, you know, if we promote it enough, maybe the walkers will start wearing light clothes, because it's not just Lake Clark Shores, it's everywhere. And when I'm driving at night or in the morning, I think, what a moron, you're wearing black, you know. Nobody can see it till they're right on top of you. So that would be my first suggestion, is that we try to promote it everywhere we can with signs and writing. The second thing I need to address is House Watch. I've been in this town for January will be 51 years. And I think that House Watch is a benefit to our town. What I would like to do is I would like to ask the police department if you could maybe do a little research on how many homes are actually long-term. If I might ask the council to have that be a thing, because I don't, long-term have their house on House Watch. I mean,
More
you know,
than 2 weeks.
Consecutively or
it seems to me that
intermittently,
the
or-
complaint about charging people is because they're long time on House Watch.
Sure.
Well, I'd like to know really how many houses are long time on House
I
Watch.
think we can work on that, can't we?
I somehow don't think that there are that many that are long term. And if
I
it's
don't
short
either.
term, even if it's multiple times during the year, I don't think we should charge people for what I consider a real benefit to the town. And like Catherine said, when they're checking my house, they're checking my neighbors, and on both sides when they're walking around, they're seeing if anything's going on. They're seeing who's across the street. And I'm not gone all that often. In fact, the last 2 times I was gone, I didn't even put my house on House Watch. But it is a service I think that's important. So if you could find out how many long-term House Watch houses we have, I think that would be wonderful. And thank you all. And I'd like to join Ashok in wishing everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, and all that.
Thank you. Fran, I would be willing to bet in this great community that we live in, if you let your neighbors know that you're going to be away, I know my neighbors are here, and I know that they watch my fish and I watch their fish. I watch their person who watches their fish. I watch their house. If we all keep our eye on each other and we all try to come to terms with this, I agree with you. The police watch is a huge benefit. And I do know that we get a lot of awesome volunteer time from law enforcement, more than I think the general public realizes. So I think if you reach out to your neighbors and let them know that you may be out for an extended period of time, they'll also keep a watch on things too. Okay? Thank you very much, Fran. And congratulations on over 50 years of being here.
Wow.
You've seen a lot of stuff come and go, haven't you? Yeah, you have. All right. Do we have anybody else that wants to talk? Anybody? Yes, sir. Come right up. Pete, how are you doing?
How you doing? I'm Pete Holderly, 6903 Pine Tree Lane. And I'm kind of upset over the fact that we have our roads that are totally decaying, but yet we spent $1.2 million on sewer. It's called here, sewer surveys, sewer projects, sewer mappings, 44,000. A month later, 37,000. Another month later, 25,000. It goes on and on and on. How can you guys sleep at night when you know you're taking us to the cleaners over some sewers that the people don't even want? We don't want sewers. You know, this is terrible.
All right, everybody.
This is
Pete,
terrible.
Pete, you don't have to yell. We can all hear.
No,
We don't have to
this
yell.
goes on every 20 years. We come in,
Well, you can thank the DEP for
you
that
know,
one.
I mean, and we are just at a point now where we're talking about millage rates. Well, this is coming out of our pockets. This is why our millage rate's so high, is because this
That's
craziness.
not true. We've had appropriation for some of those
expenditures.
dollars.
Okay, here's what we're going to have problems. We're going to have terrible, if the sewers go in,
Mhm.
we're going to have horrendous traffic issues. Absolute horrendous. We won't be able to go through our community. Our houses will be covered in dirt and soot and everything else that you can imagine what comes into this place. The driveways are going to be torn up totally. Our way of life is going to change forever. The scars that the sewers will leave will be with us, our children and our grandchildren.
Okay, thank you,
No,
Pete.
I'm
We
not
got it.
done. I'm
Well,
not-
you are done because you're over 3 minutes.
Oh,
You're at
you-
6 minutes, and that's good. You can have another chance to talk. There's a lot of people here. I'm sure they want to get stuff off their chest, just like you. Jen, you're next. You'll be next, Mr. Barker.
Hi, Jen Chanowski, 7130 Pine Tree Lane. I came tonight to speak about the septic to sewer petition, however, because we're not on that topic yet. I just wanted to bring up a point back to your name is Victoria Prinzi. Yeah, all right. And the home watch. And then it was brought up that we have a volunteer police officer. Is that Officer Manick in the back? Okay.
Is that you, Ed?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, you should give him a round of applause. I see Officer Manick very frequently. I see Officer Manick going out of his way above and beyond to help residents. And really, I see him here at meetings on many occasions. And I just wanted to ask, or maybe you would consider, I'm a big proponent of selling yourself. Like if you want a job, you should go undersell yourself and prove yourself with your actions and then be reconsidered for a higher value, those kinds of things. So if Officer Manick, how long has he been a volunteer? Do you know? How many years or?
Well, let's see. How many times have you retired, first of all? Let's look at that.
Better question. 36 years. Oh, wow. God bless. And then
Aren't you
how long have
retired?
been
Ed, are you retired military too?
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you for your service. So how long have you been volunteering in our town? 4? I really feel like we should be offering this man like a full salary with benefits, but I mean, I don't run the town. Thank you for your service very much.
I think you want to do that. You love to give, don't you? It's in giving. Ed, now I know you better than probably most of these people here, but it's in giving that you receive, correct? Yes, sir. God bless. Yes, I know. He gives quite a bit. All right. Who do we got next? Ken, come right up, sir.
Ken Barker, 8260 Pine Tree Lane, and I'd like to rebut a few things. I drive down Pine Tree Lane probably every day. There are no holes in Pine Tree Lane. Tim must go out, Keller, through the bridge into Lake Worth. If he thinks there's holes, go into Lake Worth. The other thing, the gentleman that talked about the disruption of our community for the improvement of our community with the sewers. He is correct. It will be a disaster for a short while. However, I would like to say that I believe that the septic tank system we now have in place, it was fine 80 years ago, before we had so many people on septic tanks. Recently, we had a community get-together on our cul-de-sac, and the comment one was made that there was dead fish accumulating at a wide spot where it comes around and narrows, that there was dead fish, a dead iguana, a dead duck. And I wonder how much of that happened to be because our septic tanks seep into our pristine Lake Clark shores. And with that, I do wish everybody a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy Hanukkah for those of all of us. And I think there's something. Which one do you?
That's
Which holiday do you celebrate? Yes. They call it the Festival of Light.
Diwali.
And whatever he said, I forgot, you know, but may it all be bright and a happy new year. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. Any emailed questions or comments?
No.
No? No written?
Young lady in the back.
Where do we go?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, come right up. Sorry, I didn't see you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Teresa. I'm at 1407 Beta Court North. I'd just like to say that I am with the group of people that are opposed to the septic to sewer. My primary reason for that is, as I understood the plan, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understood and read about the plan, it was only going to encompass certain property. And I say that if water and the quality of water is really the concern, then it would have to include 100% of the homes.
Eventually it will. The state will come down and eventually it will. We only can control the 702 homes. That's all our service area has control over. But you have to have a starting point.
I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, that's a bone of contention for me.
Well,
Is that
sure.
we're going to do it, or you talk about doing it based on where you have control. And the word eventually always has a comma after it. And there's probably a reason for that. you
That's
know.
because that's our service area. That's the only area we service.
But yet it doesn't encompass all of Lake Clark Shores.
The county already has them all set up on the north side. They're ready to go. As soon as they say, there's lines that are ready to go and be attached to that run all the way down Florida Mango and all of that. So the county is aware of it. Palm Springs is aware of it. I think we have a gentleman from the utilities department that's running the show in the back there that just came back from a seminar. I attend these meetings for the town of Lake Clark Shores. I go to these things. I give of my time and my energy and all that kind of stuff. I'm bringing back a message that's coming throughout the state of Florida. It's a move within the areas to get the areas, especially that are on the water, to comply. I have to agree, the septic systems that are older, that service less homes, less things. Do you know there was a senator that tried to get a 5-year inspection just to make sure they were functioning properly and not polluting? They're wrong when they tell you the septic tanks aren't doing damage. There's a lot more than just the septic tanks, but they're contributory, plain and simple. The state knows it. The guys that study this know this. These gentlemen and myself that sit up here, we're not engineers to that degree. We do different things. We have said this before. We rely on the experts to tell us the directions we need to go. I'm going to say this again. We will be bypassing for you, since you're opposed and you don't want us looking for any money to help defer the cost of what we're trying to just plan, so that if the state comes in and says, guess what, Lake Clark Shores, we don't care that the people don't want it. You're going to do it. We could be limited on the dollars that we have access to. Where if we have a plan that's sitting in place and ready to go, they call it shovel ready. A variety of the people in this room know that term. We have access to money through state dollars. And that's my position, is we should be making the state help us. Without a doubt, they should be helping. They have been helping us. We have gotten appropriations. I can't remember the exact numbers, but some of those engineering costs have been helped through appropriations. And we'll be going looking for more for the bridge. That's going to really disrupt the traffic there, because we can't find somebody that wants to leave it open so that we can make it one way. They just want to shut it down, take the time. So you talk about a snarl, that's going to be an issue also. So the council's worked very hard. I know a lot of these guys up here. We attend Tallahassee quite a bit to try to get every single penny out of them that we can.
Let me say, I'm not opposed to free money. I'm not opposed to that in almost every subject. So, but what I do think is that if in fact it's going to be a plan, it should be encompassing of all Lake Clark Shores properties and all Lake Clark Shores residents. And then I have a rebuttal to the rebuttal. And that is, I don't live on Pine Tree. I live right off of Pine Tree Lane. My roads are so bad. I've lived here for almost 25 years. Actually, it was 25 in November. And we've never been paved or much of a repair to speak of either. So my rebuttal to the rebuttal is maybe in the spot where this gentleman drives, the roads are not in bad shape.
You said you're on Beta?
Beta Court North.
Peter Clark.
And on my street, the roads definitely show that they haven't been paved in a really long time.
Okay.
With that, I'll thank you for your voluntary time to
Mi-
all the members, and happy holidays to everyone.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
For your-
Mr. Mayor, if I can ask just a question. Ma'am, real quick, I wanted to address your concerns. Oh, I didn't catch your name. I apologize.
Teresa.
Teresa, thank you so much. And Teresa, I'd love to respond to some of the comments when we get to the septic to sewer. So I'd love to be able, I'd love it if you stuck around for just a bit.
Oh, I'm going to be here.
All right, thank you.
So much. Thank you so much.
Good. Anybody else? No? Good? Okay. All right, let's move on.
Great.
Okay, I will look for a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to modify the agenda.
What's that?
I'd like to make a motion to modify the agenda
Okay,
and remove the traffic study.
okay. Do we have a second?
Let me add to that and remove the registry for the surveillance cameras.
So we were going to remove 2 items from the new business.
Number 1 will be 8A, unfinished business, and then 9B, creating a registry for the surveillance cameras.
Okay. So that's it's a modification. And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay,
Question on that?
yes.
Question for you on that. Is there a reason why we're removing the traffic study?
It's just going to be moved to a different, there's a lot of stuff on the meeting agenda tonight, so it's in there. We're going to just move it to the first of the year. We're actually trying to find out, part of this traffic study is what we're going to do about the bridge and how we're going to work that process. The cost goes up considerably when we are trying to keep one direction of the bridge open under construction. That was our plan from the get-go.
Right.
But it is becoming more and more apparent every day that not only can we not find a contractor who's willing to bid on it like that, when they do bid on that, it's over 3 million,
3.2.
3.2 from 1.6
It was supposed to be 1.3.
or 1.3 to, so
Right.
that's part of, we just got to figure out a few things and we're working on that. We're going to be going and asking for more money. We already have that appropriations in the process. It's in the pipeline. We'll be going to Tallahassee, hitting our contacts there and looking for that money. So we just felt it would be better served because the meeting that is actually in January is going to come after we go to Tallahassee. So we'll have a little better idea.
And when we go back to Mr. Kelly and ask him to update the study based on that, whatever we come up with the bridge, is that?
We will talk to him about it. Yes, for sure. Okay. I'm sure that will be modified.
Thank you.
Okay. So then we have a motion for consent.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Okay, we are going to move to presentations. Speaking of our fine police officers, if I could ask Officer Pullis and Officer Sanders to come on into the room for me. You guys come right up to the podium. Let's have a big hand for these two gentlemen. There's a certain beauty in community policing. And in all communities, not everybody's going to be happy with everything that goes down, but these guys really do. In my opinion, you guys do a great job, all of you, police department, everybody. I know there's things that don't always go everybody's way, but community policing is really one of the things is a cornerstone of Lake Clark Shores. And I've been growing up my entire life in this area. So the police used to have a way worse reputation when I was a kid. You know, we were kids doing kid things. So, but we do grow up. That's the good news. So I want to read this reference to accommodation for Officer Pullis and Officer Sanders. On 12/1/2023 at 14:17 hours, units were dispatched to SunTrust Bank at 1870 Forest Hill Boulevard for an unresponsive male in the parking lot. Upon arrival, Officers Pullis and Sanders witnessed a male lying on his back while a passerby was attempting CPR. Officer Sanders immediately took over life-saving procedures and began to perform chest compressions. He properly assessed the male was experiencing an opioid overdose. Officer Pullis then administered doses of Narcan as Officer Sanders continued compressions and a sternum run. The male began to respond to the Narcan and was placed in a recovery position as the Palm Beach County Fire Rescue arrived. He was then transported to JFK Hospital for treatment and made a recovery. It should be noted that Officer Sanders is in field training under the tutelage of Officer Pullis, and at that time was his first day on the road. Imagine that. That's trial by fire right there. Both officers displayed a calm, quick, and decisive action resulting in a life being saved. They represented the profession, the department, and the town of Lake Clark Shores very well. I would like to recommend them both for a life-saving award as they demonstrated why residents desire to live in our community. I have attached a copy of the report to this memo. All right, I'm going to come down there, give you guys some, we'll take these out. Chief, you want to come up here?
Make sure you know how to use the defibrillator for me.
I'll tell you, when you are on the corner of Pine Tree and Forest Hill, things are so much smoother. It really is. You do a great job. Congratulations, gentlemen. You can open them up and take them out so we can get a picture. Thank you very much for your service to the town of Lake Clark Shores. It's greatly appreciated. I know the residents and this gentleman that you saved his life are very grateful. Thank you again.
And I'd like the fire chief to come up too, because they did a great job.
This whole thing with these opioids, all the stuff is a scourge on our people. It's a scourge on the young people. I worry about my own children, my grandchildren. I don't know what it's going to take for people to understand, but what happened to bourbon? Is that a problem for anybody?
Better things out.
Well, I understand.
John, get up the stool, John.
Should we put the microphone down?
Sure. We can do that. Okay. Very good. What do we got?
Yeah, want to take a picture with family? Come on. Get in there.
Come on, come on. With the family.
Yeah.
Mom, sister.
Okay.
You should get a professional for the pictures. Do they ever make it to the website? Why not put it on the website?
Emily first on the right. Emily on the right, please. Please. Christmas tree.
Everybody over this way.
Look at the Christmas tree.
Over this way. Yeah. All right, now let's go over that way.
Okay, so it says. Thank you, gentlemen.
I have a picture of this. I'm taking a picture.
How you been? Oh, listen, buddy. Don't leave me hanging, man. Congratulations.
Okay. Remember, have that defibrillator ready.
Thank you, guys.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you. Good job.
we will now move to the quasi judicial proceedings. We are going to talk about 8330 Waterway Drive variance request. If we can have the swearing in of the witnesses, if they'll come forward, please.
Good evening.
Are they here?
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah,
You online?
we have some people online, yeah.
Okay,
There they are.
okay, very good.
Let me ask that anyone who's going to be addressing the variance issue to please stand and raise your right hand. And those online also. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. If I may just give a brief introduction, Mayor.
Please, you have the floor.
The applicants, Pat and Kristen Goins, filed an application for a variance for a tiki hut. The applicants are requesting an 8-foot, 8-inch variance in the rear and a 3-foot, 11-inch variance on the side yard. The tiki hut is existing. It was built 16 feet 4 inches from the rear property line and 6 feet 1 inch from the side property line. The procedure for the granting of a variance is that the application is filed with the town's zoning board. The zoning board hears the case. It's a quasi judicial proceeding. The zoning board then votes and determines whether or not to recommend to the town council the granting of the variance. On November 15th of this year, the zoning board heard the application, and the zoning board, after sworn testimony, recommends that the town council of the town approve the 8-foot, 8-inch rear variance, which is a relief from the 25-foot rear setback that's required in the code, and a 3-foot, 11-inch side variance from the 10-foot side setback requirement of the code. So you now have to open the public hearing, hear the applicant's request and justification for the granting of the variance, and any other members of the public who want to speak to the issue of the granting of the variance for the existing tiki hut.
Okay, so the public hearing is open. Pat, or you?
I'm Christine Goins,
Okay.
8330 Waterway Drive.
Yeah. That's her husband.
Okay. Did you want to address the council, or do you have anything to say, or open it up, or?
Well, I'd just like to reiterate what we already told the zoning department, who did give their recommendation to let us do this variance. When we built this tiki hut, we were told when we went to the town that if it was built by Native Americans, a permit was not required. We built it. It was in complete line with the shed that has been there for years. We have provided the zoning board with letters from all the neighbors, and all of those letters unequivocally state that it is an improvement to the community. At the zoning board meeting, we had neighbors testify or state that they believe that the tiki hut should remain, that the variance should be granted. And I thank you for your time.
Okay, are there any witnesses that want to speak regarding that? Or is there a problem? Albert? Yes, sir.
Albert Pavone, 8323 Westlake Drive. I am the realtor for the house, but besides that, I'm also the rear neighbor. And to me, I love looking at it. It's beautiful on the canal. We have gathered under there. I know the Goins since they've moved in. Everything they've done has been done right. They've pulled permits for all their work, so I'm sure they would have done it. They would have done it right. And so it's an asset from my view of the house. I know the buyer's excited about being there with their family, and I would hate to see it go.
Okay. It is nice. I've been over there and seen it. It's nice.
Thank
Only
you.
through inspection. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Fran Carlton, 8432 Waterway Drive. I am not directly affected by this, but I do live on the street and it's been there a long time. And if the new buyers bought it with it there and the residents that are there, and obviously Mr. Pavone is a backdoor neighbor, if they don't have any problems with it and it's been there a long time, I would like to think that the council would go ahead and leave it there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tim?
Tim Daughtry, 1410 Keller Road. I've worked with the Goins for several years. They pull permits for everything. This was just a mistake, okay, that they weren't aware of at that time. I've also been assisting them in handling the electrical portion of that, which I'm trying to close the permit out right now, and I'm unable to do so without the variance. I'm not on the permit, but I'm assisting them with that, and I'll be able to get that finalized out if the variance does go through. The tiki hut footprint is the same side. Actually, it's not even the same side as the shed. The shed, I think, goes a little bit further towards the lot line. So it's pretty hidden from the street. It's done very, very well. It looks nice. It suits the neighborhood. We do have a lot of non-conforming structures in town. Okay, a whole bunch of them. And this is I think, a perfect opportunity to grant a variance to allow this thing to go on and not be torn down. It looks nice. It looks very nice.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other public comments? No? Okay, seeing that, we'll.
Mayor,
close.
just
Yes, sir.
one comment, if I may.
Yes.
The town's position, which was stated that a building permit is not required when a tiki hut is constructed by a member of the Seminole or the Miccosukee Indian tribe, is absolutely correct. The problem is that does not waive the setback requirements. And so there's no violation as it relates to not obtaining a permit. They were not required to obtain a permit, but they were required to meet the setbacks, and that's the reason for the variance.
Okay, very good. Okay, we will, let me just refresh my memory here. Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have any council comments regarding this item? Mr. Maples?
I'd like to make a motion to approve it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Maples.
No, I have no comments. I think our committees do a great job, and the preparation of the work here to prepare to present today will inform a lot of information. So the recommendation from the town, that's sufficient.
If I could ask that the motion include that the council adopts the findings of fact of the zoning board of adjustment.
Very astute commentary, Mr. Scheck. I would like to amend my motion to include the findings of fact from the zoning board of adjustment. Isn't that what I said? I think that's what I said. That's what my motion is.
And I will second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, carries 5-0.
Hi, Christine.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
All right, take care.
Have a great night.
Thank
Say hello to
Merry
Pat.
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We'll see you under the tiki hut for dinner sometime.
You bet.
Okay, we have no public hearing. We move the unfinished business. We will go to the new business sewer petition. Councilmember Maples?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for coming out this evening. And we are going to dive right in. I do want to start with my belief, and I believe after done some research, and I'll present that to everyone this evening, that the septic to sewer deal conversation is a town residents issue, right? So it's a community issue, and I hope to portray that. But let me be very clear. With that being said, it's a town issue. Whether the town says, let's do sewer, we will do sewer. If the town said, let's stay with septic, we will do septic. So I just want you to know that is my position on this issue. Now, it's the holidays. So with that being said, I will dive right in. Home Alone, me and my daughter, she's 13. We just watched the movie. And then I recently, which came out, Home Alone 33 years ago today. So 33 years. The little guy went to the grocery store, bought some groceries, milk, eggs, you know, the basics of laundry detergent I think he picked up. It was $19.83, his total bill. 2023, some people are saying that same milk, eggs, and the whole deal, $72.28. So if you can imagine, 33 years from now, that is the situation that, based on that movie where we find ourselves. So with that being said, I did a little research, and back 18 years ago, this town had a similar issue, and it was a sewer to septic conversion. But I think one of the things the town did really well was that they had an expert panel workshop and brought some experts in, and the town was able to ask them some questions, kind of dive in, and we have all of this information readily available. And ultimately, what really came out from that was 300 plus residents showed up at that meeting, and ultimately had an open discussion with some experts from the Department of Environmental Protection, Department of Health, a few others. And it was ultimately a conversation with a lot of residents. And this page is very long of folks who had an opportunity to ask a lot of the questions that you're asking tonight. And so my recommendation to this council is, let's put together next year some dates and times for an expert panel to come in so we can hammer this thing out as a community and ask the experts the question and get some feedback from them. And then what they did, which was great, which is what I've been advocating for, was a petition vote that went out to all the residents along with a letter. Hey, we're going to do this. Do we have your support? And so that information is there. And so with that being said, you know, we had this petition that went out recently, and in light of that, I think that the way that was structured, we kind of got some guidance on how to properly go about, I want to say, bringing this to the town so we all have a voice on this issue. You know, we had 957 folks sign a petition asking for clarity on how dollars are being spent. And I think at this expert panel conversation, we can have that discussion and really air out some of these things on the pros and cons, costs, where money's been spent, and air out a lot of the questions that residents have. And, you know, when we look back at June 30th, 2025, resolution number 0521, there was a vote at that time by petition, and 141 folks were in favor of the sewer to septic system and the construction project, and 655 folks were not in favor of that. This community has changed a tremendous amount over 18 years, and new people have come. Some folks have transitioned. That's a very nice way when you work in insurance to say passed away. So they've transitioned on. We've got a lot of new faces and voices in this town. And I think it's important that we hear from all of you. And so my recommendation to this council is that we can green light Joe and his team and staff to put together an expert of panelists, dates and times for next year to conduct an educational meeting where this community can come together as they've done in times of old. April 19th, 2025 at 6:30 at St. Mary's Orthodox Church. 2005. What did I say, 2020? 25. We're not there yet. Okay, 2024, we want to have this meeting, but this happened in 2005. And so as we've done in times of old, bring the community back together. Let's have an open conversation with some experts and let's figure it out. And so that's my recommendation. And I hope that this council will see fit to allow the town to put together some ideas and dates to be able to make that.
Joe and I have already been talking about doing a charrette, because you're right, a lot has changed. A lot of information has changed. A lot of that, in my opinion, and I think the legal sufficiency would be there to say, what do they call that when somebody inures off of somebody else's, let's say that we do it and my property goes up and they pay for it. Am I allowed to do that?
I'm not sure I understand.
We do the
your
sewer.
question. Yes.
They want a whole community thing. So if they want a whole community thing and it gets passed, or let's just say the state comes in and says, guess what, Lake Clark Shores, we don't care what anybody wants, you're doing it. Would then the whole community be responsible to pay for my 702 homes to be able to convert? And then I get the benefit of, let's just say 20 grand and they don't? Is that, can we do that?
It depends on the nature of the financing. If it's a bond issue, the answer to your question is no. The bond, it's only the people who benefit from the bond issue, from the expenditure of those proceeds for the sewer, would be required to pay for it. The people who are on the county's utility service area, or the people who are in the village of Palm Springs service area, would not benefit from that expenditure, and therefore they would not be required to pay for it. Now, when the village of Palm Springs decides to put in sewers, then those people would have to pay for that financing, and the people who are in the town's service area would not have to pay for it.
Right. So, and that would abide to the north service area also?
Correct.
So technically, there's 3 different service areas that could be affected by the whole community, that they would have to put money into the pot. Would we then, the 702 homes, be required to pay a portion of their conversion when it comes down the line?
If it's financed through a bond financing, no.
No. So
you would not be
but
required,
if it
nor
wasn't through bond financing, the 702 homes may also have to provide funding for the Palm Springs area and for.
If and when Palm Springs moves forward with the same septic to sewer conversion, they would then have to pay for that.
They would pay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Is it appropriate to ask some questions now?
It's appropriate to ask questions. This is what we're here. We're here to get to talk about things.
So, Mr. Scheck, I'm a little bit confused now all of a sudden. So and just to start, April 19th of 2005, did we have a unified utility, or was it split at that time?
It was split at that time.
It was also split at that time.
It certainly doesn't hurt to have the entire community involved
Totally for it.
in the information process. But as far as the people who will pay for the improvements, it's only those people in the town's service area who would pay for the improvements in a financing, because they're the only ones benefiting from those improvements.
Right. So put a different way, because I just want to be as simple as I can possibly be. Does the decision follow the utility, or is it a community-wide decision?
It's really a blending process. It follows this utility service area, but it's sort of a dominoes effect.
Okay.
If one area goes to sewer, the other areas will be going to sewer in the near future thereafter. it's not a case where you're going to have only one part of the town sewered. Ultimately, the entire town would be sewered, but that would depend on Palm Beach County Utility for their service area and the Palm Springs Utility for their service area.
So I mean, the domino effect, where does the domino effect come from? Does the domino effect come from the DEP, or is that just something that kind of generally happens? Because as I understand right now, there are certain homes that are north of Forest Hill that are on sewer, but
that's correct.
That domino effect hasn't spilled over into what we have on the south end.
It's going to depend on a number of factors. The DEP will certainly have some say in the matter, but I don't have a crystal ball and I don't know what position the DEP is going to take
Well, if you
at
did,
any
you wouldn't
given
be.
time. If and when the state mandates, and they haven't yet, but if and when they do, then it would include the entire area.
Okay. And to clarify, if my understanding is correct, the mandate comes after a certain period of time that we've been put kind of like on a sidetrack because we're coming up with some sort of remediation plan. Is that a fair representation of what's going on?
The DEP has not mandated. They certainly are looking at the issue of the water quality of the lake, and they're looking at the issues of what caused the decline in the water quality. So they are certainly going to encourage the town to take steps to alleviate whatever is causing the pollution. And if it is in fact septic tanks, they will certainly have a position on that. And they have not at this point mandated it, but they could at some point in the future.
Okay.
And that was the fear of the council when they said, let's at least explore this issue. Let's have a plan in place so that we're not caught short should there be some mandate in the future.
Certainly. Yeah, that would shorten the timetable. All right. Thank you, Charlie.
Sorry, I just want to, I'll yield to you.
Well, just quick question, Charlie, about the sewer. Say DEP has nothing. Say DEP that takes no action like typical government agencies for years. But Palm Springs decides to take action and they get into a program where they want to convert. Does the town council have any ability to prevent Palm Springs from doing that?
No.
So that means we would have no control over X number of homes in our own town who are going to be converted because Palm Springs and other municipality has made that decision.
Correct.
Okay, that's, I've been trying to wrap my mind around that concept, which is very strange because it creates an obvious problem where there's going to be X number of homes from people who are serviced by Palm Springs who can't come up here and complain.
They'd have to go to Palm Springs and complain because Palm Springs is the utility service provider for those residents.
And they don't elect their Palm Springs.
No, they do not.
So you really got to break down in democracy in some respects when it comes to the sewer system. I see, but that's just my comment.
Yeah.
Well, we have the same issue with the utility that the town owns that's south of us, that's not in the town's municipal limits. Those people are required to abide by our utility requirements, but they do not get to vote for the council because they're outside of the town limits.
Simply a service that we provide.
When the town purchased the private utility here in Lake Clark Shores, the utility company said, we'll sell it to you, but only if you also buy the utility area that's south of you that's not within the town. And so the town now has 2 utility service areas, one which encompasses part of the town and one which incorporates an area south of us that is not in the town. And
2/3 of our customers are not in town.
Correct.
That's all.
And those homes already have sewer.
No, they do
Not
not.
all of them?
No, but they are on our water.
We're running a main line down Lawrence Road or?
Now,
Mar-a-Lago Cay?
we are providing it for Mar-a-Lago Cay. if and when the agreement and easement gets approved.
No,
That-
we're already doing sewer.
That we're doing sewer now, but we will be doing water if the agreement gets approved. Yes.
Right. And I just wanted to follow up if I may. I think that's wonderful having the, you call it a charrette, we have it a panel discussion, because I was there in 2005 and I voted for that. But I think that that is exactly what we need. However, the issue then becomes, I'm going to pick on you only because you're there, but you have sewer.
I do have sewer.
So do you think you should vote on whether I get sewer or not? If I don't have sewer?
Let me answer that.
And I'd say that rhetorically, Mr. Maples.
So let me give me
I
a chance
think
to respond though, since you said it. Because you asked me a question, although it's rhetorical for you, but you asked me a question.
I did.
An opportunity to respond.
I'll let you go ahead and do
Okay.
it.
As I said in the beginning, I neither am against sewer or for sewer. I said I want the town to vote. Now, 2005, May, that you were there, the letter says,
Bless you.
this is a letter that went out to all residents with the petition. An official petition will be conducted to ascertain the desire of the property owners not presently on a sewer system. The result of the petition revealed that the property owners who do or do not support the installation of a sewer system in the majority of the vote would consist of 50% plus one. The attached petition offers the property owners two choices, yes or no. But this clearly gives the folks who are the 702 homes that we're talking about, it gives them the opportunity for a vote. So to your question, I mean, although I pay taxes and the $1 million that's been spent is part of the money that I put into the kitty in some respects, but ultimately the decision is going to come down to the folks who has to spend the money for the sewer in the upgrade in the future.
And I think that the focus should be on the 702 homes. That's the key. And also you should be made aware that that cost is going to be below the line on your property, on your real estate property tax bill. What does that mean? If you live here for 5 years, you'll be paying your proportionate share for 5 years, and then you sell to Joe Bananas or Silly Susan. And that prorated amount then gets passed on to the new homeowner. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Correct. So.
There's a lot of things to flush out, but that's why you need a charrette.
Right, exactly.
That was funny.
Did you like that?
That was funny. A lot
Because
of things to flush out, he said.
there's,
Did you pick up on that? Nope. All right.
Yeah.
Hold on. We got it. When you all want to speak, everybody's going to get a chance to speak. We need you to come up here, get on the record. If we're going to try to do this and have discussion, we need to know where everybody stands.
And let me just, if I can,
Yes.
clarify, because I think there's a lot of questions from what was said. If it's a financing, it would be a revenue bond. Those are typically 30-year financings. And if you are here when that financing goes in place, you start paying the annual assessment. If you sell after 5 years, you've only paid 5 years. Whoever buys your house has the remaining 25 years if they own it for 25 years. So it's not just the people who are here now paying for it, it's the people who come in the future and buy the properties who pick up the rear end of that financing.
And I think, Mayor.
Yes.
Speaking on Turner, but I think to my original ask of an expert panel and airing out some of these questions and kind of getting it down to a discussion that we can all digest and have some material, some factual information from experts that come in and give their professional opinion, I think is going to be valuable and educational and important for all of us.
I agree.
As a community.
I do agree. Okay, so you're good, John?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other council comments? Everybody's understanding? You're good? You're good? Okay. All right. So now we're going to open up this to the floor. There's a lot of people here, so we're going to be, you've got something pertinent, it's fine. If you're going on and on, we've already agreed, we're going to do this charrette. We're going to talk about it. Do we have a realtor in the house? Is a house easier to sell with a septic or a sewer? I already know the answer. We've had that discussion. It's regardless, it's the fact of the matter.
Mr. Mayor, you'd have to have him
Listen,
come up to the.
there are things that you are open to with a sewer system that you aren't with a drain field and a septic tank, for sure. And I can tell you one of them is rodents. And I also want to add to my portion of the comments before I let everybody speak. I've been on the Natural Resources Committee. Yeah, rodents come up through sewer systems all the time. And the cast iron pipes in the town of Lake Clark Shores are shot. And if nobody here has had to replace their pipes, it only runs 20 to 30 grand. And that's not digging them out, that's lining them. So the only way to fix that problem, because rodents gnaw and chew and find their way in, especially if you have animals, into your home. So I've been on the Natural Resources Committee for 15 years. I will be the first one to agree there's pros and cons in everything. My personal opinion is we shouldn't leave money on the table that is going to be a benefit to the 702 homes. It's going to be a huge benefit. We don't know how much money that is, but I'm here to tell you, if you are not shovel ready, the next guy in line is going to get that money. And those legislators that are in Tallahassee that appropriate those dollars, they don't care about Lake Clark Shores. Don't ever forget it. And the ones that are up there representing us are being steamrolled. And they did it in the Keys to millions and millions of dollars. They're doing it all across the state of Florida. If you want to go on, because I'm part of the Palm Beach County League of Cities Natural Resources and the Florida League of Cities Natural Resources, these are the discussions that are occurring outside of Palm Beach County. And they're already doing it in many other areas that are all on the water. The North is blaming the South is blaming the North. There's a huge problem also with stormwater runoff. I believe that the feds and the state have a role in this. If you are on your boat and you go down and you happen to get caught in the rain, just look at the water that runs off of I-95 and Southern Boulevard. Those factors contribute. I've also said, and I'm in the industry, we should implement a blackout period in the town of Lake Clark Shores for fertilization. It's already in Palm Beach, it's in Jupiter, it's gaining traction, it's a real thing, it's not necessary. Tim, I know you can't disagree with that one. And I would be willing to vote on that right here and right now and say there should be a blackout period, regardless if you're on the lake or not. If you got a septic tank, water finds water.
So moved.
So there's a lot to discuss here. I agree. Let the experts come in. We may not like everything they say. We may like a lot of things they say, but I'm here to say, if we leave those dollars on the table, the 702 residents are not going to be happy campers because your costs are going to be going higher and higher and higher, plain and simple. So in business, it's always good to have a plan. All right. So that being said,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I apologize.
Yep. You do have something to say.
I do.
I'm glad to hear.
Well, I just want to make sure that everyone understands what shovel ready means. If you can just do it.
Shovel ready means
20
have a
seconds.
plan on the shelf. Be ready. When they come to you, what's your plan?
And it's also.
What are you going to
It's
do?
also permitted.
And it's got to be permitted. It can't just be if you give us the money, we'll do this. It's not working like that. My opinion in the 2005, it wasn't handled properly. I wasn't on council at the time. I then thought, once I got on, I realized, hey, we have 3 different entities handling our water services here. What's going on? Why is this like this? Charlie, you would know better. Bob, you would know better. I think the previous councils, I don't know if it was bought, purchased, or given, but those service areas were deleted from the town's service structure within the water service area that we provide services to. Is that correct? Yes. Yes. Okay. So those were council initiatives that the councils did that are biting everybody right now. So keep that in your mind when you're thinking about how we're spending dollars and where we're trying to get appropriations out of Tallahassee to help us form this plan, to save us money, because I do agree it's a domino effect and it's only just a matter of time. It might be your children. I mean, if you guys look around, people don't leave Lake Clark Shores. These guys, their kids are growing up here. They're going to live here. They want to live here. It's a great place to be. We need to think about them too, thinking about the future. Okay. So we're going to open this up. If you've got something very pertinent to say, we've already agreed to have a town discussion, bring in experts. We will get that ball rolling. Feel free to come up here, identify yourself, be concise and to the point, and we'll go from there. Start the clock.
Hi, thank you. Sorry.
Was that for me or Jen?
It's probably for me. I feel
Oh,
terrible having my.
Well, you look a lot better than I do, so let me give
No,
you
so
some.
I think a lot of the residents here tonight are here because I started this petition over a year and a half ago. I read the town bylaws. It was requiring 33% of the registered voters in the town to sign a petition asking for a referendum vote, which I did. Unfortunately, because of, the legality of it, and you guys have yet to pass an ordinance that pertains to the septic to sewer infrastructure, my petition was denied legally speaking, but, Mr. Scheck reviewed it. But I appreciate very much John Maple's stance. I think we should all have a vote, a voice. A lot of money has been spent to date on this project. You guys are the deciders of that money. There's no two ways around it. But if everyone was on board for septic to sewer, I think it's a great thing. I wouldn't be up here wasting everyone's time. But I think a lot of us have possibly, I don't know, show of hands, how many people are here to talk about septic to sewer petition, like a lot of us. So we could save a lot of time right now if you guys just wanted to. I think the expert idea is great, an expert panel. It sounded like you guys all agreed on that, or did we have a motion? I wasn't sure what just happened.
I don't think we need a motion for that.
I believe it was a consensus of the council.
Consensus.
Agreed upon, yes. So if you guys would also do us the favor, please, to have another consensus and agree to, after the expert panel, give us a vote like what took place in 2005, like what John Maples just read. So I have copies if you guys want a copy of them, 2005. Anyone, any takers, anyone in the audience?
Bring it up, Jen.
Sure. Anything? Here you go. So if anyone wants to make a motion or a consensus or any legal term of your choosing, and we could have a vote, so you guys would hear the voices of the people you're elected to represent after this Chalet, am I saying that right?
Charrette.
And
Let's
I
get it
would.
right.
Or just call it a workshop. It's a French word.
A workshop of experts, a panel of experts.
Charrette's so sexy.
It just sounds
So
better.
good.
Want a copy?
Sounds really fancy.
Yeah.
I personally think that you gentlemen I cannot make motions up here, but I think to make a motion to put something in place before we have this get together, discussion, talk is not prudent, but
You think a
the
motion's
floor is
not
open.
prudent?
Not until after we've had and heard from experts in a variety of different things. That's right.
I feel like it's a missed opportunity.
I'm feeling that it's a missed opportunity, not looking for money too, but I respect your opinion. I wish
I
you
don't
could
feel the
respect
money-
mine.
Oh.
Well, that's okay.
The money,
Let them make a motion. Let's vote on it. We can vote on it right here, right now.
okay,
If anyone will, and they second it, I'm happy to vote on it.
okay.
So
It's 3 minutes.
No, they have to make. I wish it were that easy.
and maybe, let me do this and ask this, because I don't know for sure, but I believe, Jen, they had the discussion in May. After the panel, if I remember the emails correctly, I don't know if the motion was made at the following council meeting or how did they get to the point of the petition going out
Oh, from 2000.
after the actual expert panel discussion in April, and then the vote was in June.
Yeah,
I don't recall, and maybe Bob, I don't know if you recall how that happened, but I think that
We're done.
I don't. I'd have to look at it and see but I feel like that it makes sense for me, to have folks come in,
Mhm.
everyone gather all their questions, because I still feel like there's a lot of misinformation on the septic to sewer
sure.
as it stands now. Have everyone come in, invite this entire town. There was over 300 plus people there at this workshop, air out some questions. And from that, I don't know if after the workshop, maybe figure out from there a petition or a motion to put the petition in place and go through that process
Yeah.
again. I think having the experts come in, like the state, and asking them some of these questions on different issues, I think is prudent. But that's my opinion. You may feel different.
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion to table it so that we can get all of the information.
So just your motion's going to create like a very
Jen,
long
I love you to death,
A
hon,
very
but this
long
is not, listen,
Okay.
I get it.
meeting, very long.
It's comments. Unfortunately, sadly, it's supposed to be a one-way. I'm not trying to shut you down. but I'm trying to respect Mr. Maples' thought process here that we should be able to make a decision with all the available information. So with that being said, I think it's prudent to table it so that we can figure out the process and we can satisfy what you are asking. Tabling this discussion so that we can figure it out. We've already come to a consensus on the workshop, number one. Number two, if it is that we need more information, then we should table this so that we do have an actual battle plan ready, so we can make a motion and a decision when that time comes.
So,
So-
yeah, I think
The motion's made. It might not be the best motion in the world, folks. So they can vote it down.
He wants to talk, you can talk.
I can't.
Yes, hand that thing over here to me, please. If you won't bang it, I will. Listen, we have a motion on the table, to wait till we have more information, correct?
It hasn't been seconded.
Well, I haven't called for that. We'll call for a second. Is that true? So if I'm hearing you correctly, do we have a second for this?
I want to understand what the motion is. The table what?
She wants an ordinance or something of that nature to stop this process right now, and we want to have more expert
May I,
input.
may I,
Calm down, please,
may I,
please.
may I speak? May I
Let me clarify my motion for just a moment. At some point during the conversation or the discussion, we were now proposing to have some sort of a vote placed in front of us. I don't feel like I have all of the information, and Mr. Maples just said that we also need some additional information by researching emails and different things. So what I would like to do,
Second that motion and we'll vote.
even though we're in the comment section, there was a request from the audience, which is something that is not appropriate because comments typically are your ways or your opportunity to give us some feedback. So at some point during the conversation, there was a request for us to make some sort of a motion or decision up here. I was just pumping the brakes. So if we'd like to reset, we can reset, but my motion specifically is to table the discussions of any potential votes of how we go about this process after the workshop. Now, I want to hear from the residents. I want to continue the audience comments, but at this moment, from after the workshop, and Mr. Maples just said it, we don't have all of the information. So I'd like to get some more information. That's all I was trying to say. I want to keep hearing from you folks.
Do we have a second?
It's a very difficult motion.
May I say something?
So
No, your time is up there. We're discussing this now amongst us. John, you just said that. Do you want to second the motion to wait till we have more information? You just said that.
no, I want to hear from the people that came here to speak.
Well, we're still going to hear that.
No, you're not.
Well, she
Okay.
said she's going to save a lot of time and speak for him. She's the
No, I didn't say
rep.
that.
let me strike my motion
I'd
to
like
make
to
it a lot
clarify. I
easier
didn't
for
say I was
everybody.
Calm
for
down. Hold
anyone.
on, one at a time here. Bobby, what'd you got?
Let me I'm going to remove my motion so we can continue speaking. But please, what I really request and what I ask, this format, and I'm trying to say this with extremely humble and with all the kindness that I possibly can. The format for audience comments is not meant and nor is it designed to be a back and forth battle between folks up here and our residents. Please, we have open ears. So by grandstanding and by posturing and by making this whole thing going back and forth is not appropriate. It is not the rules of decorum. And so please, we want to hear your comments and let's limit it to that.
Okay.
That's
that
just
being
my
said,
request.
Jennifer, your time has expired. Who do we have next? Yes, ma'am. Come right up. You're next.
I didn't know my time expired.
Well, I just told you 10 minutes are over, so she's next.
I-
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
I had 10
she's
minutes.
next. You're done. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am, there is.
No,
She was talking. Yes, she did. We've been timing it right here. Thank you, Jen. We'll
Okay.
revisit
Okay.
this. That's decorum right there. Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is. Yes, ma'am, you're up. Please, name and address.
1825 Gregory Road. Bought my house in 1990, raised my kids.
Sorry, but I can't hear you, ma'am.
Pamela Mara, 1825 Gregory Road. Bought my house in 1990, raised my kids here. love being here, and my daughter will probably stay here. So I'm concerned about mostly finances. I'm 66. I'll be semi-retired soon. I think more information is wonderful. And I also think trying to get funds from the state is the appropriate response to what may happen to this community. Both those things are equal. But I am a citizen and I'm used to being able to vote and have a voice. The more information, the better. I mean, I tried to plow myself through these documents. That's because I'm semi-retired. I don't know how many young people, they're so busy all the time. How are they ever going to be able to read all this stuff and understand what we're faced with in this decision? This suggestion is wonderful and that we all agree to it. I'm happy for that. Because, yeah, we may be forced to find funds to do septic to sewer. And it's a big deal, you know, I mean, we just went through, I live on Gregory, we just had that bridge redone. I mean, a lot of trees were taken down and the streets were pounding and, citizens are going to have to deal with that. But I don't see any reason why after the educational gathering that we have concerning this project, that we can't just agree to have a vote on it afterward. You know what? We can also say, oops, we need more time. You could say that at any time after the gathering we have. You're open to that. But those of us that live here and feel like democracy says I can have a vote, those of us who sign the petition and really want to have our say, not to say yes or no, but just to have a vote. I believe that you could say that right now, satisfy us all that we will be heard. We'll have the meeting, we'll have an educational, perhaps you'll even schedule a second educational meeting between the first one and the vote. But I really think that for me to feel good about things, I might have to pay for this, or maybe you'll find a way that I won't have to pay for this. I'm old and retired, and I'm not sure how I can come up with a big lump sum or pass it on to my daughter. I think that we should have a vote. I think we should be heard. And that's what I have to say.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Come right up.
Angelique Contreras. I live in Lake Worth. I am not a resident of Lake Clark Shores, but I do have a lot of friends that live here. I wasn't expecting to speak tonight. I just came from my daughter's Christmas meeting or Christmas event at her school at Somerset Lakes. And I've been to multiple meetings since the beginning of this year. And there's been a lot of animosity between the residents and the council because I have witnessed the council have the debate that Bobby had spoke about back and forth during public comment. I've spoken many times at council meetings or in the city or in West Palm Beach. And what I don't understand is why residents can't voice their opinion to their board without the board yelling at them and being rude to the residents that elected you. I hear a lot about democracy. The majority elected all of you onto this council. The majority has asked you for a vote. They have given you a petition so that they could have this vote. They're asking tonight so that you do have this meeting to discuss this further. But to table or to kick the can down the road further is unfair to the residents. We all pay for things that we don't agree with. We pay for wars that we don't agree with. We pay for certain taxes that we don't agree with, that our dollars are spent by the federal government, the local government, and it's unfair. But a majority has elected you to this board. It is not what John wants. It is not what you want. It is not what Bobby wants. It is a collective of all of you that get to vote based off of what the majority of Lake Clark Shores wants.
Okay, thank you.
I have my 10 minutes still.
No, not really. We gave her 10 minutes. I thought she was going to talk for everybody. It says right on there at the discretion is 3
Val,
minutes. I
this is
understand what your
against Robert's
comments
Rules
are.
of Order. This is against what your bylaws state for individuals to be able to speak. See, this is the debate
I let
that
you-
happens back and forth. So what was the 10 minutes that
We
he had
let you
stated
speak.
prior?
I was telling her how much she had been going on. Listen,
Wait a second.
I'm the
Okay,
only.
if time is up,
Ma'am,
I had a misunderstanding
I'm the only
that I
mayor that
didn't.
doesn't do that. I'm the only mayor that doesn't.
I had a misunderstanding that I had
Okay.
3 minutes. I apologize.
Okay.
I will sit down.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yes, ma'am. You had your hand up. Come on in.
Good evening. I'm Christy Moss Fox, 7071 Pine Tree Lane, and a very happy resident of my lakefront property. I have a question. Of all these studies that have been done, has any one of them proven that it's the septic and not the fertilizer or the I-95 runoff or something that's happening upstream? Because it would be a shame to saddle us all with large bills and not have the lake get cleaned up because we fixed the wrong thing.
There's a variety of opinions out there, and FAU does have a study out there somewhere. If you dig it up, you may be able to find it, that septic tanks do contribute to the body of water being impaired. Like I said before, there's over 1,200 or some odd number of lakes in the state of Florida that are impaired, that have been already declared impaired body of waters. I don't think there are many communities that everybody will vote to have to spend 30,000. I'm looking at retirement too. It's just my wife and I. We've raised 6 children. Our earning capacity is not going up, it's going down. So I've always said that we all have to pay for this too. It's coming our way. We're helping to try. If you want to defer cost, Tim, you said you refer to sewers when you ran, which is fine. It's not a bad thing to be for it. But if we don't keep paying attention and form a plan, we're going to have a larger problem. Your dollars are going to be worse spent after that fact, because they're going to steamroll us. They're just going to come in and say, you're going to do it. And whatever money you could have had, we're not going to have. I think that that's what that petition was talking about at first. They didn't even want any more dollars spent on that. Is that correct, Charlie? For it, let's just find out what the legal non-sufficiency was for that. Make it clear.
That's not part of the public discussion.
No.
It's not a
Okay.
debate, and we need to hear from the public and we need to move on. I don't need to respond to that because there's no legal issue with what was presented just now.
Okay, good. So
I understand that FAU has their studies, but they're not a study of Lake Clark. They're a study of other lakes.
they're the study of the chain of lakes, and down the chain of lakes, it gets actually a little bit worse, I think. Fecal chlorophyll, is that it? Fecal chlorophyll? Yeah, it's out there.
I just don't want to spend money
I
and not
agree.
have the issue be fixed. And I think we should have a study about our particular lake.
It's going to be attached to the bodies of water because the water flows through the big, if you notice this year, some people have told me, I don't know what you guys are doing better, but the finger canals, I'm on a finger canal, are so much cleaner. They're so much better. Well, the reason they are is because they probably have stopped releasing so much water from Lake Okeechobee that travels throughout the state that helps stop a lot of that.
Well, that's exactly what I was getting at. If this is Lake O discharge, no matter what we do, the lake is going to be polluted.
Well, that will, no, that's not necessarily true. Once we have done our part that we may be required to do, my opinion from attending these meetings is that we'll have a better leg to stand on. I had said before that their stormwater runoff is a big issue with the state. It was not one of the top priorities, although I felt it should have been. within the committee for legislative policy setting, things of that nature. It didn't make it onto that agenda, but I felt it should have because that's another factor that affects our lake and the entire chain of lakes from here all the way down into Lake Ida. So it's, you know, it's,
Chain of lakes, meaning the 3 lakes.
well, yeah, there's a whole chain of lakes that run down from north to south that are there's chain of lakes all over the state of Florida, but these particular chain of lakes that we're attached to, that's what it's for.
Thank
So
you.
do your children go to Cardinal Newman?
And I
You-
did as well.
Are you, what year?
Oh,
Yeah. what do
you
you
want that on public record?
Well, we're all Newmanites around here, so thank you. Yes, sir. Come on over. You had your hand up? Come on, yeah, come on over.
Most of the points have already been made. I'm Howard Goldfarb. I live at 7150 Westlake. I guess a quick comment and then a question for y'all. Comment is, you talked about all the rainwater runoff, and everybody in the state knows that the majority of this pollution is coming from one place and one place only, and that's Lake Okeechobee. I fish on the West Coast, I fish on the East Coast. Every time they wind up doing a dump, there's dead fish, there's dead waterfowl, there's everything all over the place. So what they think our little septic to sewer change is gonna make is ridiculous. Because the vast majority of the pollution, and I'm no scientist, neither are any of you, it's all coming from the lake and the runoff, with maybe some small little percentage coming from our septic to sewer issue.
Unfortunately, that's not a correct statement. I'm the attorney for the Everglades Environmental Protection District, and you are not getting any lake water unless there is a huge storm event. That lake water is not coming through this area. It's all going south or north of us or to the west. There are barricades, one at 441 and Southern. There's another one further west. All that water is going south, not coming.
Every time we have a major storm,
In a major storm event, you may get some lake, but it's not a regular occurrence. It is a rare occurrence.
That's a lot of rare occurrences. My question for this council is this. You obviously get the feedback from the residents. You have 957 people signed a petition to vote on this. You guys are voted in by us. Why would you be so much animosity from that side of the podium as opposed to everybody here who's just asking for a vote, a say for where we spend our money?
Okay, I don't feel like it's animosity because I'm with her. I'm trying to figure out how I can stay in my house, that I pay a lot of taxes here too. And if this is going to come down my line, I need to figure out how to pay for this. I don't want to work until I'm 75 or 80. I'd like to call it a day tomorrow if my wife would let me, but guess what? That's not happening. So I need to figure out a way that I can, if this does occur to us, how do we pay for this? You're going to find out when some of these experts come in, you may be enlightened. Because if you have not attended some of these meetings, that's why we're agreeing to do it.
I've done a lot of reading over the last 2.5, 3 years since I purchased in here, because this was a smack in the face to me. And all I'm saying is you guys need to understand where it's.
I understand.
People don't have $30,000, $40,000, $50,000.
It's not going to be 30, 40. And I'll tell you what, I've talked to a lot of people, sir, that do want it. They're not here. A lot of them are the younger people that don't want to be bothered by it. They just want it.
Okay,
So,
but there's
okay.
957.
I got your
people that
comments.
wanna
Thank you very
vote
much.
on it.
We
And
appreciate
All
it.
we're asking for is a vote.
Okay, well noted. Thank you. Come on up, Deborah.
Good evening. My name is Deb Moody at 7510 Pine Tree Lane. I'm probably the only one in the room that is in favor of septic to sewer. When my husband and I bought our home in 2017, it was going to be our last home. And we decided, and we had the opinion long before that, that when we fix something, we were going to fix it right and fix it for the last time. I live in a home that was built in the 50s. My septic system, I believe, is original. 70 years old plus. It's not going to last forever. I've had a couple of estimates, and I know that in order to replace my drain field, I'm going to have to bring everything up to code, and I'm looking at probably 25 to 30,000 to do that. If I'm going to spend 25 or 30,000 to replace my septic system, I would rather spend that once and finally and go to sewer and never have to worry about it again. And I think a lot of the residents are not necessarily thinking about it for the future, fixing the problem once and for all. I am not saying that I believe that our septic systems are what is polluting the lake. I unfortunately do not live on the lakeside. I'm not on a canal. But I do believe that all of the pollution that we are all collectively responsible for dumping into this earth is contaminating our waters and our lakes and our canals and our rivers and our air. So it stands to reason that a septic system that's 50 plus years old is going to fail. What happens then? I don't have $30,000 to hire someone to come in and bring everything up to code. I'll have to replace the tank. I've been told that you can't just replace the drain field, you have to replace everything. And I don't think anyone in here is ready to have to do that. I feel bad for some of the residents. I've seen new systems going in, and I'm just praying that my system will last and live as long as I need it to until the decision is made, whether we go or we don't. I'll pay for it, and it'll hopefully be the last time I have to spend that money.
Thank you. Thank you. Bernadette, come on up. Ashok, I'll get you next.
Good evening. Is this only comments about the sewer? We're not
You
going to
can-
audience comments?
You weren't here for that part, but
Oh, okay.
it's okay.
I'll do.
We let Ashok talk. We'll let you talk.
Okay. Bernadette Shalhoub, 8429 Westlake Drive. Mr. Maples, you weren't here in 2005. Unfortunately, I was, and I was at that meeting of 300 plus residents at St. Mary's. And although my husband says that he thinks that's a great idea, I was standing in the back of that room. The 300 plus residents that came to that meeting didn't hear one word any of those professionals had to say, not one. You want to know why? Because while those professionals were trying to answer the questions that were presented to them, there was 300 people in the back disagreeing with them. Just as this gentleman disagreed with our attorney when he said that we get more Lake O discharge than he says we do. Our residents that don't want sewers don't listen to our established professionals. And what wasn't said in 2005 is how much would it have cost us? 20 years ago, we would have been over with this. And this council didn't even have a mandate or a letter or anything from the state. They just kind of knew that something needed to be done for the future. So now we're kicking the can down the road. Here we are. We had all this information 20 years ago. It had been presented to everybody 20 years ago. The residents voted, no, we don't want to do that. So now we're going to have all this information again, and it's going to be more updated, and it's going to be our lakes are even more polluted than they were. So let's say we have a chain of lakes. All the other chain of lakes are going to do their thing. Lake Clark Shores is going to say, oh no, our residents said, we're not doing it. Then what happens? If everybody else does it and we don't, because our residents say, no, we don't. 20 years ago, I don't know, the cost was $10,000. I forgot what it was. Now, and I have heard repeatedly from this council that we're not going to do this unless we have money. I mean, I have heard that from every single one of them. I don't know that we had your opinion on that, but from the other five, everybody up there said, this is not going to be done unless we find money. But again, all this $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 keeps being thrown up to us. Nobody knows where that figure comes from. So all I'm saying is that if we listen to what they know and what you will know, since now you're in the group of all of them, you guys your jobs don't begin or end at this meeting. And believe me, as a mother and a wife of the first father-son elected officials to the same council in the state of Florida, which I'm very proud of, they work hours and hours talking to professionals, going to meetings, getting all their documentations in order to inform us. But what we have to do, if you want to know the same thing they do, is spend as much time, spend as much energy with the professionals, with the people who are giving them advice, with all of the people that they're making their decisions on. Spend time with them. They're all open. They're all public officials. They're all up there. They are going to those people to get the advice. All I'm saying is I think if anybody is disputing that, they need to talk to the people y'all talk to. And I think that if you have a panel again, that it was an embarrassing moment for our city because those people came of their own volition. They weren't paid. They came at our request. 300 of our residents treated them with so much disrespect. Didn't hear one word they said. Didn't agree with one of their opinions. And I was there to hear it all. It wasn't hearsay. I sat and watched it all happen. I was going to speak, and I'm like, whoa, no. You couldn't hear the question. You couldn't hear the answer because our residents didn't want to hear it. And here we are 20 years later, still at the same point, still with the same indecision, still saying we need more information. I don't know how much more information we need. And I think that if we continue to wait and we continue to wait, what would have been, your daughter would not have to be bothered with this anymore. And none of our children would be. I mean, I have 2 children living in this town. So they're just starting. They're starting their young families. We're getting older. It's not like whatever affects us isn't going to affect y'all, because it certainly does. We're going to have to pay the same amount of money everybody else does. But what you gentlemen are doing is trying to make that cost to us as low as possible. If this woman has to replace her drain field, that's all on her. So there's no help for her. But if you guys are doing your job, you will help us pay less money for something that will be a long sustaining project and not have to be passed down 20 years later, or probably less than that, by mandate of the state. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ashok?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I may ask Mr. Lavella just a quick question here, because I had an idea. Would it be possible to possibly incorporate some sort of WebEx technology into this panel so that it would make it easier and everyone can hear their questions?
You usually read my mind. My
Well,
idea was to
And
have.
we're not even married.
I know.
Can you believe that?
To have this charrette and also have it videoed with and place it on YouTube.
Would it be better though to maybe have the panel of experts mic'd and in an online format? So it's online
100%.
only, and that way all the questions come across clear, the answers come across clear.
That would be the goal. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Ashok?
Good evening again. Ashok Kulkarni, 8131 Westlake Drive. Actually we are discussing in the sense we have separated residents on the Palm Spring water and others are on other locations. That's the way we are talking. But don't you think we ought to coordinate with Palm Springs
We are.
to make sure what are they up to, what they are going to do? So because I understand you go up to even Tallahassee, Palm Springs is next door. You ought to communicate and find out what are they up to?
The mayor of Palm Springs is on my committee and I talk to her on a regular basis about this.
Okay.
And I talk to
and
staff
what their plans are
all the time.
And we've been talking to Palm Beach County. We're not just jumping into this food.
No, but
I have to pay too.
no, but I like to know what are they up to?
We can invite them too, but we talk to staff about their plans too.
They want to.
So they're doing a plan just like we're doing.
Ashok, they want to piggyback.
No, I realize it. Basically, eventually, both the towns should work together.
Yeah.
That is going to affect.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
We are, and we're even looking at.
Their water utilities director is on that committee also.
No, because previously nobody made a reference to that. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah,
And he's a doctor too.
we're even looking at economies of scale
Yeah.
to see if we can share some pump stations. They're called lift stations to share the costs. So we talk. Yes.
Yeah, eventually everything should work together.
Yes. On a plan. That's what we're
Thank
doing,
you.
on a plan.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Ashok.
Good comment.
Anybody else? Let's go with Catherine and I'll go with you. Ladies first, Tim.
Mine's real quick and
Okay.
kind of hit on it anyway. And Bernadette is, I'm an organizer. So if things can be organized for this meetings that's in the future, is people don't like that. All the questions would be presented. Maybe there could be some charts, the money with the taxes, how that's done.
Sure.
But that way, everyone who shows up could have a piece of paper. There'll be a list of questions that town residents could give ahead of time just to hit on some points so that everybody's not asking the same question every time. How to put that particular thing together on a city council level with 300 residents, can't help you there. But
Technology's come a long way in 20 years.
yes, I know.
And we all lived through COVID. So
I know.
when there's a will, there's the
I know,
technology
but
for it.
getting the information in print so
Sure.
that people that show up can see these questions that are organized in sections and not scattered throughout, which government likes to do, is going to help a little bit maybe Bernadette's thing about everybody talking all at once and not being able to hear. That's was my comment about that meeting moving forward. If we're organized before we go in, then it'll run smooth. And it really does help.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
No, good comment. Thank you.
All right, Tim, you're next.
Tim Godfrey, 1410 Keller Road. So in my lifetime, I've lived in houses with septic and with sewers. And I've lived in a house that had a terrible septic system that was failing. Okay. I'm a supporter of sewers on just when we're talking about sewers versus septic. When this came out, recently after I moved into this town, way back when, I was one of the ones that voted in the affirmative because I prefer sewers. The issue is we're only talking 702 houses, and we're talking about a body of water that is being polluted by any number of things. Until we know what components are affecting our lake, we're not going to be able to come up with a solution for the lake, okay? Just grabbing at it with a septic to sewer conversion isn't going to correct the problem. There's too many other issues there. Okay, Greg mentioned the fact with the fertilizers and everything else. I have not used irrigation or pesticides or fertilizers on my yard for well over 5 years now. Okay, my yard doesn't look great. Okay, it's not this green, pristine, yard like a lot of people around here. But I am being a good steward of the environment. Okay, we need to change our way of thinking. The problem with this whole septic to sewer issue is financing. Okay, financing
for us. So do we have anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Victoria, come on up. Fran, you'll be next.
Victoria Kinsey, 1411 Carandus Circle. You know, working as like a team on this last half hour or whatever, I mean, I really like what everybody says. Everybody actually contributed something that I like agree with. And there's one thing though, I've really come to almost all the meetings here, and if not physically here over the last couple of years that I've lived here, I call in remotely since COVID and stuff. So I really have heard a lot of the meetings and a lot of the discussion about the septic to sewer. And it may be me, maybe, you know, maybe I missed something, but before we go into that sort of a meeting, I'd like to I'm like confused as to where we really stand. Like how much did we actually spend towards already, you know, to be shovel ready? The details of what shovel ready, what it means, you know, experts could help us on, but I'd like to know what you guys know, like as a summary, because so many of the discussions are just like argumentative and yes and no and this and that. I'd like to like see now where we are compared to like when we started the discussion a few years ago, like a summary from you. It's like, this is where we are. This is what we've spent. This is what it's going to be estimates. Obviously, this is what we think we can, you know, we still have to spend just to get shovel ready. It doesn't mean it's voted yes or no, but I'd like to know the facts. I seem to have gotten lost over the past number of years as to where we stand right now.
Joe,
So I just think,
you have a little
but
clearer?
even before that, it doesn't even have to be an answer now, but I'm just saying, like, if we can get like a summary, like the woman.
We will.
He said, you know, to have something laid out beforehand, so we're organized. Part of that organization, you don't have to answer now. I'm just saying, part of that organization might help to give us a good update on to really where we are now.
We'll try to give you an unbiased update, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Fran?
Fran Carlton, 8432 Waterway Drive. First of all, thanks to Florida Power and Light. I have had a brand new septic system twice in the last 3 years.
Oh, lucky for you.
Because they
Tell
like
us how
to
you do
drive
that.
over my septic
Educate
tank
us, teach us.
to go to the poles in the back between Bob's and my house.
Send them to my
And every time they do, they break my lid and then they have to come and pump it and have a new lid put on. And I have a brand new down to I can see concrete everywhere and it's in great shape. So thank you. Florida
Sounds
Power
like
and
you're
Light, if
bragging.
Anybody's here.
Is that
But
the
anyway.
septic tank or the drain field?
Oh, the drain field is good. I actually,
You're
I put
talking
it-
just about the tank.
the
You
tank.
have
But
you have a concrete tank?
I have a concrete.
Wow, you have been here 51 years.
I have been here since I've been here 51 years, but the house was built in 68.
Wow.
But it's a beautiful, big tank too. And just
I've
me
been to your
using
house.
it. Anyway, I am here. That's my statement on the septic tank. But I have some questions and I know that with all your information at hand, you can probably answer them. We have 1,402 houses, am I correct? Or do we have more now?
I've heard 1,300, 1,400, somewhere around there.
1,402 is what I've had for ages, but maybe I'm wrong.
1450. Okay.
How many, and 702 are in the Lake Clark Shores service area. Do you know how many are in the Palm Springs service area and how many are in the county service area?
No.
I think it would be helpful to all of us to have those numbers, if you could get the different service areas for us.
Palm Springs is less than 30.
Less than 30 in Palm Springs.
They're in Lake Clark.
You mean county?
The county's a lot.
Okay, well, I just think it would be helpful to all of us because mostly what I have for audience comments is questions. You say that we have the 10 of Lake Clark Shores, thanks to you all, is on a shovel-ready list.
We're not even there yet.
No, there's different phases of the project. One phase of the project, which we call Micah West, is shovel ready.
And what?
It's
area is that?
133 homes, something like that.
And what area is that?
It's
Mine? Yeah, because I know they've surveyed my area a
it's
couple of
it's
times.
those MICA streets on the west side.
Okay, great. So we get to be first. Okay, those are shovel ready.
Yes.
Some of my other questions are, how much more will the town of Lake Clark Shores have to spend to make 702 homes shovel-ready?
I don't have the estimate in front of me, but it's millions to design something.
More than we've
but it-
already spent.
But let's clarify where the money's coming from, because that's come up a lot about tax dollars. It's paid out of the enterprise fund, which is called the Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund. And enterprise funds are operated like a business. So the ratepayers actually are paying for the study. It's not out of ad valorem tax dollars. It's an investment in, just like, as I said, it's run like a business. So that's an investment in the business. So
Well,
go
Who's
ahead.
investing in this business?
The ratepayers are paying for it. The ratepayers.
Us.
Yes. If
Okay,
you're,
well, yeah, see, that's.
but 2/3 of the,
We need to use the language that we all understand.
okay.
Because that's what happened when I was here at the meeting, when you all were talking about, we were on some list and whatever. And it took me 19 questions to get you all to say the list was because we had plans to do
I'm
sewer.
totally transparent. I'll
So-
try to,
so-
two-thirds of the ratepayers, as I stated at the meeting earlier, are not even in the town. So they're contributing to the cost of this design of these 702 homes, because we're going to have to design those other 2/3 of those customers, maybe.
But they're not paying, they're paying for their design.
No, right now, the ratepayers of the whole system, of the whole water and sewer system, which is an enterprise fund that goes all the way down to Lantana, is those funds are contributing to the design of this in multi-phases. One phase has already been done, which was the phase that's on Forest Hill Boulevard. That's the commercial side. Then phase 2 is Micro West, and then phase 3 and 4, that's where the engineer will come in. They're looking at a different kind of systems, and we are working with Palm Springs.
Okay, so
For design.
702 homes here, and how many homes are in the non-incorporated service area?
I don't have any of those numbers, the numbers of
Could
houses.
you get those while you're getting more numbers?
Yeah, like I
Please?
said, I'll get.
So that when you talk about the enterprise fund, those of us who are paying for the service,
Right.
are the 702 homes plus 100 homes or however many are in the other service area of Lake Clark Shores?
Well, the other service areas, it's confusing because the other service areas, if you live in Palm Springs,
No, I'm talking about the ones in the Lake Clark Shores
She's talking about
system.
the South Service Area and Lake Clark Shores.
The
Palm Springs
the
customers are part
Mar-a-Lago
of the
K and whoever else is.
yeah, this gentleman's in Palm Springs Enterprises. He does not contribute to our enterprise. He pays.
Right, no, that's what I'm trying to find out. How many people pay to our enterprise? 702 plus how many in the other
And-
service area?
It's 2/3 of our customers, so I have to do the math.
Okay, no,
Our-
I want you to do the math. That's what we're paying you for. Okay.
Oh.
But anyway, I think we
I don't have
all,
any of the numbers.
I think we all would feel more comfortable.
Yeah,
if we
I'll
had
do an
numbers
unbiased preamble
and could
and
look
and
at-
try
Okay.
with the engineer.
And I'm trying not to run over my time. So millions was the answer to get 702 homes ready, shovel ready.
Yes.
Millions more
Not a-
would need to
it's
be
not a
spent.
cheap endeavor.
No, yes.
That's why planning is crucial.
They did go out to bid, I believe, many years ago, and they picked an engineer by merit and by cost, and they picked, it wasn't even our engineer, it was another engineer, and
Have we got an engineer now?
he's the same engineer. He's designing the system.
Who? Please.
Bill Lynch, but
Bill
Lynch is with,
no, what's the name of it, Jen? Edmund Jones, thank you.
yeah.
Okay. And now my next thing is to be shovel ready. You said we had to be permitted to get funds.
No, I didn't say that.
Somebody said that.
I said it's, if you want me to answer that question, you have a better chance of getting funding if you're shovel ready. Because as the mayor said, they might overlook it. You know, if you just want the money, you don't even have a plan. If you have a plan and you're shovel ready, they might give you grants and appropriations. Appropriations is asking for money, but grants, they actually usually grade the application to see who scores the highest. And one of the scoring could be shovel ready.
Okay, because then I misunderstood because I have here must be permitted to get funds that I thought
There's a
the
better,
mayor said. Did you not say that, Mr. Mayor?
No, I didn't say anything about the permitting. We need to be shovel ready is my term with a plan. That's my term.
you have a better chance of getting funding.
Yes. The permitting, I don't believe you can even permit without the full plan, is it
No,
correct?
no, you
Yeah,
have
so
to have a
permitting-
plan.
So we have to be
you gotta
shovel
have the
ready
plan,
to
then you
get the permit.
The-
And I'm wondering,
The more ready you are, the more available funds are going to be to you.
where in that process do we get money from the state, if we're getting money from the state? After we're permitted, or
No, right now, we're looking for appropriations just for planning.
We have a grant application right
We have
now.
grants out, we
and-
have appropriations. We've
We're
already been
planning.
talking to our senators, our representatives. We've already, been looking for free money. Free money is the name of this game.
and the
all
money that you're
all the
looking at now is for
municipalities are
planning? I'm
Pardon me?
just trying to understand. The money you're looking at now is for planning. No,
Yeah.
it's for construction.
Well, yeah, no, it's going to come, I don't believe that it'll ever be paid for 100% by the state.
It's
I
right now.
would love that.
Right now,
Let me go on record to say that if they would pay it, I would do it.
right now it's 50-50. It's asking for, we're asking for 50%.
Okay.
We're asking.
And then I think I just have a couple more questions. I think that maybe some of the people that had commented earlier that were talking about it needs to be the entire town if we get septic. Maybe if we knew we were ready and waited until the state said you have to do it now, because then Palm Springs would have to do it now and the county would have to do it now and Lake Clark Shores would have to do it now. So if you guys have us in line for money and you've already spent all this money for plans, if they have to do it, then it's understandable that
That's
we
very
have to do it.
conceivable. That's what
But if we don't,
that's my
if we
point of
don't
view.
have to do it
We don't have to do it, but we need to
until
be ready.
they do it,
Yes.
then maybe,
We don't have to do it until they make us do it. But when they make us do it, if we're shovel ready, we're in a way better financial position to help defer the cost to all the residents.
but to have
700
all of us shovel ready, we're going to have to spend another $1 million
Well,
before
that's,
we get,
cost of doing business. Unfortunately, it's not cheap out there,
well, I know it's not,
Look what's happened with our bridge. It went from 1 point something to 3 something.
I know it's not cheap. And I'd like to comment about the bridge.
Okay.
Because for what, 6 months, 9 months, a year, those of us who lived on the west side had to go out of our way because we couldn't go down Florida Mango.
Sure.
So if for 3 months, hopefully it doesn't take more than that to do the bridge, the people near the bridge had to go out of their way, they could live because we lived, even though
I
it was
agree.
very inconvenient
It's very inconvenient.
to have to
Caused a
not
lot
be
of
able to
traffic
use Florida
problems in the
Mango to go
town.
where we,
It caused a lot of issues.
but we lived and it was,
But
I'm
it's,
thinking
it's-
almost a year.
the change is inevitable. My continued position is we need to be prepared, plain and simple. So,
But $1
thank you.
million is a
Thank
lot of
you.
money.
Yes, ma'am.
Teresa, 1407 Beta Court North, and
What's your last name, Teresa?
Weibel, W-I-B-I.
Thank you.
I don't usually say it.
That's
because when
okay.
it gets
We need it for the
spelled,
record.
It's
It's okay.
not a good thing. I apologize because this is the second time I'm here, so I'll be brief as I
Okay.
was the first. And I'll apologize that somehow this has gone over my head and I don't understand it, but there's 700 and some homes that were part of the planning process to switch to the conversion. And you used the word eventually with me, saying that all the homes. Can I ask you what number of homes will not be mandated for the conversion? Because you explained you do not have the authority or the legal power to mandate the rest. So
We don't. But
May
the
I
state-
ask
The
you-
state does. It's an unknown number. I would venture to say from my 15 years of attending these meetings that the community, it will be the domino effect. I think we had that. The community will follow, just as it has in other areas that's on the water. It continues on. I've been trying to rack my brain here to think of any community. I know up in the Indian River Lagoon, they're fighting it tooth and nail. And look what's going on in the Indian River Lagoon. And I wonder, which is where some of those discharges are flowing to versus the other areas, which is a huge problem. I can see everybody's point of view. If they are, we're right, we have a much bigger problem than just the septic tanks. It's not it. But if you're not doing your part, I don't know how many legislators you've met with, but when you're not doing your part, guess what? You get their cold shoulder. You can't even get a 10-minute meeting with them when they have Palm Beach County Day, when they invite us up to meet with them, and we're elected officials by our people. and we're there representing our people and we can't even get meetings. That's an issue for me. And here they want to make us do this. It's a problem.
So are you saying, if I can paraphrase, you're saying that you don't know how many properties?
Eventually, no. Right now, I know the discussion is for the 702 properties. That's our discussion right here, right now. What will come after that is an unknown. I
So
know,
there'll
it's-
be plenty.
I know, it's like going with your hands tied behind your back. I agree. But it's just, you know what? You keep going. You keep writing letters. You keep attending. You keep getting in front of them. You keep letting them know, I'm not going away. I'm going to be here. I'm going to keep working you. That's part of the system is set up for the state to return funds to the municipalities to help us with this. My personal opinion is some of the, legislatures would like to see small communities like this just go away and be overtaken by the county.
Of course.
That's my
Overtake
feeling
them.
that I
I'm
get.
sure that's probably pretty true.
But I don't know that to be a fact. It's just a feeling that I have as I attend these meetings and I talk. Our representatives and our senators are actually pretty good to us. They've gone to bat for us, but we've had to go outside of our legislative delegation to try to get additional funding. And most of them just don't want to deal with us. That's just my experience.
I just am finding it hard, sir, to comprehend that you know how many houses would be under your mandate to.
Not our
do the
mandate. The
convert-
state's, just remember,
I'm
the
sorry.
town of Lake Clark Shores is not mandating this.
I'm sorry.
This is a state
sorry.
initiative.
Poor choice of words, but.
Yes, that's okay.
So you're really saying that it's an unknown number, that if the 700 and some two houses are converted, you don't know how many of the remaining homes would still have septic tanks because they're not mandated to make the change? You don't know that number?
I don't know that number at this moment. No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wondered if we had.
We're trying, we're trying to.
It's 2,100. It's
2,100?
Yeah, I
Well,
just did the math.
That's, yeah. I mean,
Roughly 2,100.
That would still remain
Well,
on septic tanks?
You're looking, when we're talking, we're talking just Lake Clark Shores and the service area. It's Green Acres, it's Palm Springs.
Okay,
It's,
so
everyone
encompasses
is,
more than
it's a very competitive, everyone is asking for money to do, Lake Park. They're doing an initiative. That's just in this area, but just Google it. The west part of Florida, they're doing it. So there's
Oh, to me and my
so a lot of people are asking the state to help them with these projects because it's an initiative all over the state to get, not even next to bodies of water, believe it or not, to get, if you live close to your neighbors. If you have a 5-acre lot, you probably don't need a sanitary sewer system because you have that space.
Okay.
But if you live in a city, you probably, that's what they're saying, you should look at
Well,
sanitary
maybe I
system.
misunderstood again then, because I just heard you say 2,100 and
That's-
there aren't that many homes as I.
No, remember I said 2/3 of our service area are not in our town.
Okay.
Okay,
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for
No-
your time.
no problem. It is
Thank you.
confusing.
I appreciate it.
No,
Thank you.
Thank-
Thank you, Teresa.
thank you. Nice meeting you.
Everybody good? Good?
Mr. Mayor.
2. Okay, we're going to move on to discussion on council vacancies. This will follow. Joe, you want to lead this charge? Or,
Mayor,
yes,
just ask you a question.
It-
Can I
it didn't-
make a motion to move
didn't
that
pass.
topic to after status reports? Since we have a lot of status people here, we should probably get the status.
Yeah.
that's fine by me.
Mary, did you get the votes on that clearly?
I got Bobby and John voting for it and the rest against.
So it failed. Okay, just want to make sure you got it. Thank you.
So we'll move to discussion on council vacancies.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
You want to hear Mr. Hoofnagel?
Pardon me?
Did you want to hear Mr. Hoofnagel? He's
Yeah, let
online.
him talk.
Okay. You can go ahead. Roger? Doesn't seem to be working.
Okay. Tell him we're going to continue on with we're going to get the
Sure.
battalion chief out of here. He's been sitting here. It's late. Sir, you want to come up and give us your status report? We appreciate your patience. Thank you very much for attending this evening. We hope Chief Adams is well. And I hear you're doing a good job in her absence. That's what your guys say. So that's good news, right?
And we got a ladder truck, so thank you for the ladder
And
truck.
we got the ladder truck. You're very
Like the
kind.
ladder truck.
Thank you.
Well, I wanted to start by saying how terrific it was that council and the police chief took time to recognize your law enforcement officers. Most of us, fire rescue and police, it's just a duty to act. But when we look at what's called the chain of survival, it's actually that. It's multiple links and everybody plays an important part. And if one of those links is broken, whether it's a civilian, whether it's a healthcare professional, fire rescue, if it's missing, then that chance of survival goes down. So it's a good thing that you take the time to recognize them because it probably been real easy to stand there, but you know, you're motivated because you chose to do a job, and it's good that those men and women are out there working alongside of us. It really makes a big difference in the community. Your statistics for November were up slightly from last month. 33 total events, 25 medical calls, 4 fire alarms. We responded to 1 motor vehicle accident, 1 water-related incident, 1 fire, which was a vehicle fire, and 1 hazardous situation, which is a power lines down, which was about a month back where we had that weather come through out of nowhere. And just slightly north of here, we had multiple calls with power lines down, but that's what that hazardous condition was. Our averages have been pretty consistent, 6 minutes and 46 seconds for our crews to arrive on scene. That's well below the 7:30 average, which is acceptable for NFPA and ISO. And the total time of handling was 8 minutes and 6 seconds, which is right between that 8 and 9 minute mark we like to strive for. So we're pretty much remaining consistent. What's going on in fire rescue? I don't think last month we talked about it, but we graduated 42 new recruits from our fire academy, if you want to call it that. When we hire on new people, they go through 12 weeks of orientation. It's a condition of employment. Those 42 were 42 of 121 new hires we hired this past year. We're on track for a new class in November. Again, we're looking at between 120 and 150 new hires just because of vacancies, retirement, and the need to increase staffing. Nothing really else going on within fire rescue. I'm certain you're aware of the services we provide, but over the last 2 or 3 weeks, there were a couple major incidents that had a lot of televised coverage. One being a residential structure fire in the western communities of Boca and Delray, 12,000 plus square foot home. We call that a mini mansion. That's a commercial space. Early morning hours, about 2 a.m. So the fire got well advanced before anybody noticed it. Fire was involving about 75% of the structure. Within about 35 to 40 minutes, we had over 25 fire rescue apparatus there, approximately 74 personnel. We saved about 2,000 square feet of the structure that wasn't involved. But that is something that is extremely manpower intensive. You're really behind the 8 ball when you get a building that big burning. And of course, the second one over the past week was the incident on the turnpike. Then again, you're in a very remote access or area of the turnpike, limited water supply. We had units on scene within the first 8 minutes. We had approximately 23 pieces of apparatus on that scene. We had the fire under control, which involved 8,500 gallons of gasoline and diesel. Fire was under control and out within an hour and 34 minutes.
Nice. Good job.
We've had 3 pieces of that apparatus were what we call our tender trucks. We had 9,000 gallons of water that arrived from North County, South County, and the Westlake area, because we're really remote and we don't have water there, as well as a piece of apparatus that carries 550 gallons of foam concentrate. So when you saw the photographs and the video footage, that's all that white stuff on the ground. So crews were challenged, but for peace of mind, which I'm sure you're certain of, it's just our capabilities here in fire rescue. We're happy we could provide that service. And, you know, you don't see a lot of those, but they do come along every once in a while. So they're challenging, but I hope what you did see was impressive. Any comments, questions, concerns?
Do we have any questions?
Thank you.
Any comments?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Happy holidays, Chief.
All right, Charlie, your status report is here in front of us.
My report is included in your agenda packet. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Scheck? No questions? Okay, Chief?
Good evening. I wanted to, before I go over the report real quick, to let the public know the threat level on a possible terrorist attack is way up. We've been monitoring it.
Is this mic on?
Yes, mic is on.
Okay.
So I want to let the public know that includes our area because of the diversity of people we have, and also the larger cities and where the public gathers. So I just want everybody to be careful when you're out there. We're monitoring it. I believe the FBI released information to the news this evening. So you'll probably see some information on the threats going up, but not the details. We monitor the details, people who make comments, so we keep track of that. But that part is confidential, but I want to let the public know that. Last month, we responded to 254 calls of service. Our domestic issues have gone up, which is normal for this time of the year. We assisted Palm Springs with 5 calls. I think one was a robbery and a shooting. The Marine unit was out. We had 6 arrests. People were charged from failure to appear, aggravated battery, impersonating an official, and DUI. Traffic enforcement, we did 110 traffic stops. We wrote 93 citations, 50 of those were criminal. We had 7 vehicle crashes, 2 hit and runs. Our flock camera system, we ran approximately 114,569 tags. We got a couple stolen vehicles came across, some stolen tags. We also monitor sex offenders. There's thousands in Palm Beach County, so we keep track of where they go coming in and out. So that's a great system. Code enforcement, 58 new violations issued, 97 re-inspections completed. 72 people came into compliance, which is good. We have a good compliance. We had 5 false alarms where people were cited. I think the bank had over $1,000 and they're going to pay the fee to the town where we respond, they get fined. And I think 3 vacation rental properties turned in packets to be reviewed by town staff. And that's my report, if you have any questions.
Any questions for the chief?
Thank you, Chief.
No? Thank you, Chief. Good job, everybody. Okay, Mr. Lobello.
Okay, my packet's in the report, in your report. Our next meeting is on the 3rd Tuesday instead of, because of the holidays, it's the 16th in January. And there's nothing really new besides, you know, the tennis courts have been updated and complete that project. We want to thank all the volunteers and all the staff for the holiday events. They all went great. I hope you were there. I thought they all went nice. And the pickleball courts are open, and we're going to have a dedication probably late February, March, because of the basketball part that we're still working.
Okay.
So everything's in the report.
Questions or comments from Mr. Lavella? Who is the winter tennis camp instructor?
Sherwin. Sherwin.
All right, I
Yeah.
was just making sure. I saw them out there today. Okay, so now, before we go to council comments, would everybody want to go to talk about council vacancies? Joe, do you want to handle that, or Charlie, or who wants to deal with that
I
one?
mean, we all have one vacancy because seat 4, no one filed for. And we have the issue that's going around throughout the whole state, which is this new requirement of Form 6, that a lot of elected officials are resigning this month.
Well,
So,
Joe,
yes.
I'd like to read a statement.
Okay, let me,
It's not easy. I had some other notes here, so just in that conversation,
okay.
I think a lot was talked about the septic to sewer. If anybody wants to talk to me privately after, I'm more than happy to talk to you about it, but I think we got plenty there. Before I read my statement, I'd like to welcome Miss Bridget Keating. She's going to be joining us here for the town. On the board, she's a retired fire lieutenant and flight paramedic training officer, and I think that that's pretty stellar. So I'm going to read a letter into the record, and just thank you in advance. Dear Mayor Freebold, members of Town Council, and fellow residents of Lake Clark Shores, I hope this letter finds you in good health and high spirits. It is with mixed emotions that I tender my resignation as councilman, with immediate effect to allow enough time for this council to appoint an interim council member. This decision has been an incredibly difficult one, and I wish to express my sincere gratitude for the privilege of serving the wonderful community of Lake Clark Shores. As many of you may be aware, my decision to step down comes with a heavy heart, and it is a choice I have made in consultation with my family. I had every intention to fulfill my term as a councilman. However, unforeseen circumstances, particularly changes in Florida's legislative landscape, have led me to reconsider my role in public service. In particular, I'd like to draw your attention to Senate Bill 774, recently enacted this year by the Florida legislature. This legislation imposes significant changes to the financial disclosure requirements for local elected officials, including mayors and members of the governing body of a municipality. Starting January 1st, 2024, elected officials are mandated to file an annual full disclosure of financial interests. This is called Form 6. Instead of the previous simple financial disclosure, which is known as Form 1. This new disclosure not only necessitates the reporting of individual net worth, but also demands the listing of assets exceeding $1,000 individually, including personal items like household goods and personal effects. Unfortunately, this also extends to personal items of sentimental value, such as my wife's wedding ring, as an example. Most shockingly, the law now requires the disclosure of identities of certain clients, exposing them to public scrutiny. While I understand the foundations of this new law were implemented in good faith to further transparency in public service, I find these new disclosure requirements overly burdensome and intrusive for a small town such as ours. My primary responsibility is to safeguard the interest of my law clients and my family, and I believe that the extensive nature of these disclosures compromise that responsibility. I want to express my deep gratitude for the support and collaboration I've experienced while serving on town council. It has been an honor and privilege to contribute to the progress and positive development of Lake Clark Shores. During my tenure, we have strengthened intergovernmental relationships with Palm Beach County and with public works projects and with neighboring communities such as West Palm Beach, Lake Worth, and Palm Springs. As I step down from my official capacity, I want to assure you that I will remain an informed and engaged resident of Lake Clark Shores. I am confident that this council, with its dedicated members and our supportive community, will continue to advocate for our neighbors and safeguard the unique paradise we call home. I appreciate your understanding and support during this challenging time. I look forward to witnessing the continued growth and success of Lake Clark Shores from the perspective of a grateful resident. Thank you, and may Lake Clark Shores continue to flourish in the years to come, and may God bless all of you.
Thank you.
It does mean now, so I
I'll leave.
Bobby was very instrumental in our visits to Tallahassee, and you're going to be missed, Bobby, but we all understand this is happening statewide. It's a huge dilemma in local municipalities. I don't know if it'll ever change. I don't know, but these are other factors that we need to stay in front of as a community. So now we have covered that. Let's go on to, pardon me?
I need to make an announcement.
Oh, now Val.
Yeah. I'm going to follow in the same lead, but I'm going to resign effective the end of the month. I've been on the council for 18 years. I started when my youngest daughter was born. I've seen all my children grow up while I've been on the council. I was on the council because Bob Shalhoub came to me. There was an open spot in 2005 and suggested I run, and I ran, and two other people ran with me, against me, excuse me. And I've been on the council. I've been on the council for 9 terms. I've seen the town change quite a bit for the better. I love this town. I'm going to continue to be active in whatever I can in the town with whatever I can do. I've been mayor twice during those 18 years, for 4 years. Of course, I was mayor during COVID, which was very tough. I am going to make a suggestion tonight of one person that we might seriously consider to appoint to replace Bobby's interim position until, I guess, March, when there's a new position that's taken. But beside that, I just want to let you know my decision is not necessarily just because of Form 6, although I am very disturbed by Form 6. I think it's an intrusion. We get paid basically nothing to be up here, and yet they want us to disclose everything we have. In fact, I've never taken money for this. I always give it back to the town employees every year. I've never thought we should get paid, but I also don't think our privacy should be invaded. But I'm also been on here 18 years. I've been very tired. I'm concerned about the way these meetings are run. I will tell you, I will be very honest, and I love everyone up here. But I feel like in the last 2 years, we have not had the right type of back and forth between the public. I think it's very important that when we have meetings, that the public informs us of their views, but it doesn't become a debate. The meeting itself belongs to us up here, not you. The public does not participate in decision-making. Instead, you provide us input. So these conversations should not be a back and forth argument like we've seen tonight for hours and hours. And we've seen for the last 2 years where we argue and bicker and nobody wins because everybody wants to get the last word in. When I was in council, Bob taught me a lot. One of the things was we started the invocation. We did not do that for us on council. We came up with a lot of other ideas like citizens on patrol, golf carts, movie night. I started that the first year I was here with my little kids. The tennis tournament, we had a 50th anniversary celebration, Bob, that was amazing. That was in 2007. We had a big party that went on for days. I've been training law enforcement officers for 18 years. I helped try to fix ordinances, but as some of you probably agree, it's next to impossible to fix an ordinance and make anyone happy. I love our flashing stop signs. I beg the town to put those up. The pickleball court, of course, Mr. Maples, you love pickleball and I do too. I love anything to do with a racket. A tennis tournament we started here. A bunch of things. C51 project, the canal, I started it as mayor in July of 2013. 10 years later, we've not been able to do it. We did invest in it, but it was going to be a way to make every single person on the water property value extremely increase. I learned a lot about government in the 10 years of trying to get that project underway, and I'm hoping one day it will, but I've learned that it's very hard. I love every single person up here. They've become family. That's why this is really hard for me to do. I've known Bob forever. I've known Greg. Joe, you're sort of new, but that's okay. I've known Charlie since high school.
Wow.
My wife worked for him in high school at his law firm. I'm talking a long time ago. I've known all of you over there west. I've known you forever. Dana on code enforcement. Mary, something special about Mary. Just great person. Sal, everybody out there, I've really am going to miss not being a council member. It's hard to do this, but it's the right decision. And also I think it's nice to have a fresh person come in and with some ideas, and maybe you all can figure out how to do these meetings a little better so that we're not here until 9:15 at night. There's always the input you have with us that's not during the meeting. That's very important. And I always encourage people to come talk to you, email me, talk to me. We should all these questions you have at these meetings should have been answered by somebody somewhere before you got here. That's just the way it is in most towns around. I've been to other towns and tried to talk and it's 3 minutes and that's it. And you sit down. You don't get to debate. You don't get to argue back and forth. So my resignation's effective at the end of the month. Joe, my letter's right here. I'll miss you. I think I'm allowed to stay up here for a minute.
Yeah, you
We
are.
have till the end of the month.
Yeah, till the end of the month.
All right, well, we're not finished
And by
yet.
the way, I didn't mean to say Bobby. Bobby, I begged him to become a council member, and now I feel like it just feels so bad. It was so hard.
Mhm.
Thank you, Bobby, for all you've done.
Thank you.
May it please the court. Dear Mr. LaBello, you know, I read this time and time again this week. I'm writing to formally submit my resignation as councilman of the town of Lake Clark Shores effective December 30th, 2023. After much contemplation, I believe it's time for me to transition from public service and explore new opportunities. I would be remiss if I did not mention that complying with financial disclosure requirement Form 6 recently implemented by the Florida legislature is going to continue to have a chilling effect on very well qualified and dedicated public servants now and for years to come. One must also appreciate the fact that while legislatures and the elected constitutional officers also have to comply with Form 6, we on the local level are mostly volunteers. Many of the elected officials in many municipalities are not compensated, and we are only compensated at a rate of $92 a month. All of the locally elected city officials, in my opinion, run for office to make their community better. My compliance with Form 6 is going to force me to compromise my ethics with the Florida Bar Rules of Professional Responsibility, for which I am bound. It suggests that I'm required to disclose confidential communications and information of which I took an oath to preserve. It has been an immense honor and privilege to serve my neighbors of this beautiful town for the last 32 years on the town council. I'm deeply grateful for the trust and support that the community has extended to me throughout my tenure. The experience has been both rewarding and fulfilling. And I take great pride in the positive difference that we have collectively made in the way of life for our neighbors. I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to my fellow councilmen, the town administrators who have served with me, and all of the dedicated staff members, utility crew, the water department, the police department employees, past and present, who have worked tirelessly alongside me. Our collaborative efforts have been instrumental in creating various milestones and advancing the well-being of our beautiful town. I'm grateful for the camaraderie, shared vision, and teamwork that have defined our working relationships. I'm also indebted to the constituents and neighbors who have supported me throughout my service. Their engagement, feedback, and encouragement have been invaluable. It is with profound gratitude that I acknowledge the unwavering support of the community, which has been a driving force behind our shared accomplishments. Please allow me to share with you some of these accomplishments, which I don't think you know. The sound wall. They said it couldn't be done. I'm not going to say I did it, but we did it. I'm most proud in convincing the Florida Department of Transportation to create and install a sound wall between Dreher Park Zoo and 10th Avenue. I want to thank then Mayor Rodney Romano for recognizing me as the Outstanding Advocate of the Year in 2003. While I have received many accolades in the past, this one was so special and still resonates as one of my proudest accomplishments. I was able to spearhead the construction of the seawall at the head of the lake. When no one said it could be done. I met with Lake Worth Drainage District. I showed them the erosion that was happening, and they looked at me and said, I'll take care of it. No problem. Also, the many people do not appreciate or recognize is the acquisition of the Corandis Park on the north side of town. The site of the new pickleball facility. Many people don't understand and appreciate that we put together an opportunity to purchase that property and then assign the purchase and sale of that contract to the town. The impetus of requiring this parcel of property was the fact that there was a developer that wanted to put 0 lot lines in that area. And I, along with others, felt that it would ruin the neighborhood and obviously disrupt the peaceful tranquility of that area of our town. I was also instrumental in creating the Hart Trail and Pine Tree Park. It was the first of its kind in this community. I also spearheaded the first in-camera videos for our police department. Not to mention the body cameras, the first in the county. Well, the 28th town-sponsored annual barbecue has been embraced by so many people. This is by far the single largest community event. Wow, it's thousands of people that we have influenced, that we have showcased our town. And it all started out with a handful of neighbors helping me cook some barbecue. Well, there's that old Lebanese saying, you can't clap with only one hand. As I embark on a new chapter in life, I will carry with me the numerous memories of the positive changes that we have initiated and the progress we have achieved together. While I step away from my official duties, my commitment to the well-being of the town remains unwavering. By the way, there's a barbecue meeting on January the 12th.
Yes.
I extend my best wishes to my successor and to all those that continue to work for the betterment of our beloved town. I'm confident that the spirit of cooperation and dedication that defines our community will continue to strive. We must learn to keep our differences respectful. We must learn to respect the views of others. We must also appreciate the fact that we have one goal in mind, and that is continue to make Lake Clark Shores better for everyone today and tomorrow. Once again, I thank you for the incredible opportunity to serve as your town councilman, enjoying the privilege of being mayor 9 times. It has been an honor, and I'm grateful for the relationship and experiences and memories that will stay with me always. I could not have done this if it were not for my beautiful wife, Bernadette, my family, Paul and Christina. You have always supported me in every endeavor within this wonderful community. Without them, I would not be where I am today. Good luck. I'm not going to say goodbye. I'll just say, talk to you later. Thank you. You know, I regret the fact that this is on YouTube.
Who said lawyers don't have feelings?
Thank you all very, very much. Thank you. But now we have a problem.
Hmm.
And we need to fix this problem.
We do. When I went to reapply for reelection, I was going back and forth figuring out, do I want to do it? I've been asking people all around town, would you apply? And I know obviously someone must have asked Bridget to apply, and I'm glad you didn't have to go through an election, because we both were at the bank at the same time to open our accounts. And then I just decided I couldn't do it there. And then it just came upon me that night that I just didn't want to do this. But Taylor Materio is here in the audience today, and Taylor was going to run a couple years ago, and Taylor was going to run in this election. And I kept trying to convince, I wanted a fresh new person. And by the way, you would be the second female, because we haven't had a female up here.
Since me in '83.
Yeah, it's been a long time since.
No,
we had-
Michelle Daniels was up here.
And then you had Williams. That's correct.
Yeah, but not while we've been on count, 18 years, not for 18 years.
I had Michelle Daniels and I had Miss Williams also.
Yes.
And before that, you had Miss Harrison.
So I had talked to Taylor, kind of explaining what my vision was and what I thought would be so nice to have a fresh face to come here and listen. I mean, to discuss all of these issues without any particular input of what I have to say, because on our council comments tonight, I have a couple interesting things to say. But Taylor was going to apply, and then I asked her not to because we weren't sure we were going to have an election. But long story short, I asked her, would she be willing to consider at least this interim part of Bobby's 4 months? Because I think that's all we can appoint for. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So we
It's
know-
the unexpired term, and that term expires at the March election.
So it would be for only Bobby, because that's the only open spot that's right now in front of us. all four of
Correct.
us. Obviously, there's going to be 2 more open spots next year, and you're going to have to choose people for those, because we're both leaving on the 30th. That was my idea for Taylor, and I just wanted to put that out there as a motion to the council.
Is that a motion?
So,
Yeah, it was a motion.
Charlie, give us some advice here, how we handle this. Does that have to be open? I mean,
No, the law in Florida is that when a council or commission seat is vacant, the remaining council members can appoint a person to fill that vacancy for the remainder of that term. That term expires in March at the March election, and therefore, or actually, I guess it's just after the election.
by the April meeting.
Yes, by the meeting where the people who are elected in March are seated. You do not have to campaign. You do not have to seek names. You have the ability to fill the vacancy now. It needs to be done before the 30th, because if it's not done by the 30th, there will only be 2 of you sitting here. 2 of you do not constitute a quorum and can conduct no business. And that would then mandate that the governor would appoint the vacancy. I do not recommend that you take that route. I recommend that you fill the vacancy now so that you have 3 council members who can conduct the business of the town going forward after December 30th, when you will lose 2 more council members.
I do have one extra question, and the governor's appointment could be anybody in Palm Beach County.
Yeah.
Can it be anybody anywhere in the
It could be
state?
Anywhere in the state. So that is my concern. I really want, I want someone who lives here who has a stake, a stakeholder. Taylor, if you need to hear from her, she's very interesting. Her mom, so Taylor's mother is Shannon Materio, and Shannon Materio was one of the biggest supporters for Lake Clark Shores. She was the West Palm Beach commissioner. And at the time when I was doing it in 2013, when I was petitioning to get the C51 canal done so we could go through, she stood behind me and gave me all the input with Lake work of what to do to start. And we actually made quite a bit of progress. And I learned a lot from her mother and how politics work, but also just kind of how to get ideas going. And she was a big proponent to the city of West Palm Beach for our town and took an interest. And I think she showed up here at a meeting 2 or 3 meetings ago and gave us some input on a couple topics. But that's my motion is to appoint an interim spot for Robert Gonzalez's vacancy until that vacancy expires in April or March. Of course, that motion, so that you understand it, allows you all, whoever's here, to pick 3 more other people.
Two more.
Two more. But there will also be, you have to pick someone for that next position for Mr. Gonzalez. Is that how that works?
You're talking about after the March election?
Yes.
Yes, and that will be another appointment. And because that's a 2-year term, the appointment is only for 1 year till the next election. And then that person runs for a 1-year term to put them back in the rotation.
Yeah.
So will we need to have a special meeting to fill the other vacancies?
No, you can do that at the January or the February meeting. You will have a
As long as we
quorum.
appoint-
You will need to appoint someone before the 30th
Before the
so that
30th.
you continue to have a quorum.
So we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All right. Any opposed?
It's not that I oppose. I'd love to hear from her just to get her perspective and have her say something, if that's okay. I don't know if you're comfortable with that, but I don't know if you guys, if that's okay.
That's fine. I'm sorry, I didn't want to, I didn't.
I mean, I know I'm interesting.
You sat here for 3 hours.
Come right up to the
Please come
podium,
up.
Shannon.
By the way, this was your, Taylor.
Taylor, sorry. Thinking of your mother.
If this is your training
Call me
day,
Shannon all the time.
Nah.
I'm very proud of my mother.
what a tough training day.
Well, I know your mother better than I know you, so, but here's where we get to know each other.
Taylor Materio, I live on 7515 Westlake. I'm here only 2 years, but I will say that I have a really fond memory of sort of growing up in Lake Clark Shores. My grandparents lived on Mediterranean, where this is like sort of emotional for me too. But I spent every single week in Lake Clark Shores playing in this neighborhood, having dinner with my grandparents. To me, this is the neighborhood that I thought I lived in. I grew up in the south end of West Palm Beach, but then in what they call Soso now, it was not the kind of neighborhood that it is now. And you didn't necessarily ride your bikes on the street yet. But when my husband and I had our son, who's now 3, I knew I wanted to be here and raise him here. And I thought of this as the neighborhood where I could see my little guy riding bikes and making friends and playing at the park. And that is my life right now. And I am just so honored. I'm like a little taken aback by everything that happened here this evening. I would be so honored to serve our community in this capacity. I'm the Chief Development Officer for the Historical Society of Palm Beach County, and history is my passion. And I understand that to know where you are going in the future, you have to know where you have come from. So it has been really enlightening to be here with all of you this evening and to hear how passionate you are about your community and the histories that you have here. And I look forward to listening to all of you and having those conversations, potentially, if this takes place right now, as we move forward. I would be a door open kind of girl, so I would be really into meeting with each one of you and hearing from you about what makes Lake Clark Shores the best place for you to live. I'm trying to think of anything else you might want to know. I hope that's interesting enough.
Tell them about the code board.
You're vice president of Impact.
I actually serve on the board for Impact of Palm Beaches, which I'm exceptionally passionate about. I'm a junior leaguer and have been for about 7 years. I serve on the board of the Women's Chamber of Commerce. I serve on the board for Extraordinary Charities, which works with about 34 nonprofits here in the community. I come from, as Val mentioned, a long legacy of community service, and I believe that is an important part of what you do. You serve your community. So yeah, I would be proud to serve this one.
Taylor, just a quick question. Would you be willing immediately to resign from the code board?
I am no longer on the
Oh,
code
you're not
board,
on.
although I did serve on the code board here in Lake Clark Shores.
Okay, you were on it for a little bit?
I was.
Okay, so you don't have any office that you're currently in that would create a problem? Okay.
and I no longer serve on any county boards, although I have served on two.
Okay. I know we had a vote. Should we do it again?
I'm happy to reiterate.
I heard the vote, but are you okay with the vote?
Can we hear from Lisa Kellerman?
Oh.
Kelman? Okay, no, I guess we're gonna go to a vote. She doesn't want
Okay, we do vote. There's two more spots there.
it.
Mary, did you get,
I moved the same exact motion.
So the motion.
did you get the motion? on the vote?
Taylor Materio and for the interim position for Group 4, which was formerly occupied by Robert Gonzalez, who resigned tonight.
I guess you're basically saying the unexpired term.
Unexpired term.
Unexpired term, excuse me. Yes, thank you. That's my motion.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Shahoob. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carries 4-0.
We have
We have to do an oath.
one other item of business.
Yes.
In order for Ms. Materio to serve, she has to take the oath of office. So I would ask if you would stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Taylor Materio,
a citizen of the state of Florida
a citizen of the state of Florida
and of the United States of America,
and of the United States of America,
and being an officer of the town of Lake Clark Shores
and being an officer of the town of Lake Clark Shores,
and a recipient of public funds as such officer,
and as a recipient of public funds as such officer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
all of the duties of the office of council member of the town of Lake Clark Shores,
all of the duties of the office of council member of the town of Lake Clark Shores,
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
Congratulations. And we will need you to sign one before you leave tonight.
You actually can come up here.
Well, this is a
We'll put you right here.
definition of a real quickie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Taylor, congratulations.
And just as a clarification, because there will be 2 additional vacancies as of the 30th of this month, the council will need to consider appointments of 2 people to fill those vacancies until the terms expire after the March election.
And we can do that after the
You-
first of the year.
You can do that at the January meeting.
Or February.
Or February, yes.
So if there is anybody out there who is aware of somebody who would like to serve, please bring it to our attention. Have them come and visit with Mr. Lobello, and we'll take it from there. Okay, we're good?
We're good.
Welcome aboard, Taylor.
Thank you.
Okay. Are those your guys' council comments? for
Well, I have
tonight,
one,
or-
a couple more, just a second.
All right, but we're going to go with
Yeah,
Mr.
but
Maples
he
first.
he hasn't done it.
Wow, what a ride tonight. Emotionally, it's been up and down, that's for sure. First, happy holidays to everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying in the saddle with us. To the gentleman that posted their resignation, thank you guys for years and years of countless hours in service. As a resident of this town, I know I'm on this council, but I am a resident. I do appreciate it and thank you. This gym that we all enjoy has been built for hours and hours of service from you men. So thank you for that. And happy holidays to everyone. Enjoy your family and your time and rest. Hopefully we get a little. And that's my comments. Thank you.
Okay. Taylor, would you like to add anything to your previous comments, or are you good?
I'm absolutely good. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Bobby Bob and Val, for your service, your many, many years, and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Good. All right, Val.
Sure, I just wanted to add a few extra things that I didn't say before, but thank you, Taylor, for honoring the town with your service. As you probably know, John and all of us up here know, this is a thankless position. It's not easy, and there's a lot of work, and there's a lot of issues out there. I heard so much on sewers tonight. No one ever asked me, are you for or against sewers? Well, when we were driving, Florida Mango was closed for that long of a time. I was thinking, how miserable would that be if that was in front of my house because of some cost overrun for concrete, and that meant that we would not have access to our houses for 9 months, or what is it, a year? It's horrible. And I was thinking there's going to be craziness with putting sewers in town. But I will tell you, I was never sold on yay or nay. I was always a little skeptical of we are the source of the problem for Lake Clark. I don't think we are. I think it's a multi-source, because I've seen things floating from the west by my house, because I'm near Bob's house, and we just see it floating really, like when it rains heavy, you see things floating fast. So I'm looking forward to whatever the council in the future has to say or do on this topic. I don't personally think voting is proper, but I'm a lawyer and I have reasons for that. I have all sorts of reasons for understanding its most interesting situation with 702 homes, and then all these homes that are run by Palm Springs, of which you as a council will have no way to control. It's a very strange situation. Lastly, I forgot to add an important thing. We built this town hall. This town hall was built when I was in office, and it was a thing that the council actually had to go through, and I've never built anything, but the Kelmans are here and they're professional. Yeah, you're looking, who's the professional builder here? I'm looking at you. We had to understand construction to build this. Remember, Bob? And I had a funny thought. I was the deciding vote for the color of the roof tile. I just remember that as I was going through I picked the green. It was a 2-2 vote, and I got to pick it. But we got to build this, literally this chamber, and convert the police department, who used to be in a trailer, a mobile home, for years out there. And we finally made this into a town that we could be proud of. And I'm very proud of our police officers and the hard work and the nice gear they have and the nice cars and the professionalism and where we are in this town, all the hard work of our police officers, because they are an integral part. They are as important as we are as council members, because they are your eyes and ears. And when you dial 911, don't expect me to come to your house. It's going to be them. With that being said, my wife, who sat here for 18 years, and for the last 5, she keeps saying, you need to leave because you keep hiring. Marty supported me all of this right from the get-go when our Emma, who's 18, was a baby. That's when I came on here. I came on for one reason, other than Bob persuading me. I wanted to build parks. I wanted to build things for the kids. I wanted there to be activities for the kids, because I had 5 children who were 12 and under at that time. And it was a grand thing to do. And I know a lot of us have children. You have a little one. Bobby has little children. We all know what you have grandchildren, major, and you have major grandchildren. That's what this town's for. There's nothing better for Bob's grandchildren to be able to go over to the park and do something fun. We did golf carts. Our town's become a golf cart town. I begged for us to have it. I was the council member who brought the idea, and I worked with Wes Smith, and we got the licensing, and Charlie Scheck, we wrote the ordinance, and we did everything. And now we have golf carts everywhere. I was so happy we were able to do that. I'm going to miss all of you. I haven't disappeared. I haven't disappeared at all. I will help wherever I can. I plan to live here till the end of time. I don't know anywhere else I would want to live. I've been everywhere and I don't like it. I love coming back home to Lake Clark Shores, to the friends and the family and the people in this town that make it like a real happy place. Thank you.
Bob, you want to add
I
something
do.
else?
I wanted to explain my no vote with regard to the motion on the motion for a vote. I voted no because I don't know exactly how the motion was supposed to be articulated. I don't know what's going to come out of this charrette. I don't know the information that's going to be provided, pro or con. I do know that education is the key, and without education, you cannot make an informed decision. However, I also am of the opinion that the bottom line is going to be real simple. How much is it going to cost? That's it. You can sit here, I learned so much from Roger Hoofnagel. He came up to me and he said, son, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And I looked at him and I said, sir, you're exactly right. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about because I don't know anything about phosphate and nitrogen and all this other stuff. And he taught me a lot. But I do know this, when the professionals come in and tell you that septics to sewer conversion, the pros and the cons, listen to them. But I know that the bottom line is going to be real simple. How much is it going to cost me? And that's what we've been trying to do up here for the last several years, is to try and figure out how we can lessen the burden, the financial burden to every one of the 702 homes that are affected by this. Could we have done it better? Probably. Can we do it better? Sure. But we tried the best that we could. We're not perfect. We made mistakes. We're all human. But one thing that we did have in common when we went to Tallahassee, when we approached the county on various opportunities, we asked that the residents' needs go before ours. And we tried our darndest. And when you think that you have a relationship with a representative, that's great. Pick up the phone, call them and say, I need your help. And I tell you what we did. We had to go outside of our district to get the support for much needed dollars for this community. But for the relationships that we were able to establish over the many years, we were able to get those dollars. And now we're confronted with a big issue, and that big issue is Pine Tree Bridge. I think Mr. Kulkarni asked us when we were doing the councilman debate, if you want to call it a debate, what are the 2 or 3 most important issues that are facing us? And the first one that came to my mind was it's the Pine Tree Bridge. Well, the budget came in, we budgeted 1.2, now it's over $3 million. But part and parcel of that was to keep that bridge, keep that thoroughfare, Pine Tree, open. And now that was what, $300,000-$400,000 extra. Part of the original contract price was to keep it open because we felt that we owed that to our neighbors. And now it looks as though that's one of the main issues that this new council is going to have to make a decision. And yeah, it's going to be something else. And with regard to the roads do need to be addressed. But we also were positive in our, I refer to it as PMA. That's positive mental attitude of approaching the needs of this community. And we didn't want to do it twice. And when I say we didn't want to do it twice, is to dig up the roads if we were going to be successful in pushing and pushing the projects through the legislature to get those dollars so we can have sewers. But yes, I was at that 2005 meeting, and it was a rip roaring. It was a zoo. But they asked me, "You going to listen to me? Or you going to make the decision?" And one council person said, "You voted for me. I'm going to make the right decision." She was voted out of office the next term. They asked me, "What were you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to listen to the residents. You voted me into office. I'm going to listen to you. But I want to know what you're voting on. I want to know what I want to vote on." And it's a moving target. It really is. All those in favor of sewers, raise your hand. Now, all those in favor of sewers that don't cost you anything, raise your hand. There you go. But how about all those in sewers that, it's going to cost you this much, and if we give it to you at half of the price, are you in favor of sewers? I don't know what that vote is going to be, so I wanted to explain myself to you all. And when you're talking about a referendum, correct me if I'm wrong, Charlie, I got 75 words to put in that referendum.
75 words. Yeah.
What is that? You choose those 75 words. and tell me, are we able to do it? I don't know. I really don't. But you know, there was something that was posted, and it says, if you accept the call to leadership, you must be willing to be misunderstood, criticized, opposed, accused, and even rejected. Folks, let's all treat one another with respect and civility. If you take this podium and turn it around, there's a civility code there that we should all abide by. Let's respect the views of others. We don't all have to agree with each other, but I respect your viewpoint. Please respect mine. I thank you all very, very much. As you said, Mr. Maples, what a ride. I thank you all very, very much.
Okay, Bob, I'm going to give you one more that I don't know if anybody is aware of. Bob and Dan are pretty much responsible for the CRA. That was a huge endeavor. That was big. That turned us around. They didn't want it for whatever reason. The county or the state or whatever doesn't want to deal with what they assume that we are an affluent community when we all, you tell me anybody out here who's not living on a fixed income or a budget, we all do. We all live on budgets. Ashok, when I first came to this position, you approached me. I took it very seriously and I told you, and I do. And I agree with what Bob said. We're going to be criticized. We're going to be rejected. We're going to be misunderstood. We're going to have all these things going against us. But when you feel in your heart that you are doing what's right, and I see everybody who's in these commission meetings, I talk to you guys outside of this. I'm not the only one, but I'm one of the guys that will go and knock on doors and talk to people and find out, what are your views? What do you think? Tell me what you think. If you don't talk to me, I don't know what you're thinking. We ran sewers down Forest Hill Boulevard in order to accomplish the objectives of the county at zero cost to the residents. Now, when you come to next month's CRA meeting, you'll see where we are financially with that. The businesses paid for that. They paid for that. There was not one objection. And I was the mayor at the time, and Dan Clark and I, because Dan was concerned. He knew the history of the conversion and the talk of conversion and all of the perils that that's going to bring. Financial, structural, your driveway's blocked. We're all going to be living through the same things. But we got it done. The businesses paid for it. It's been a huge advantage to the town of Lake Clark Shores. And it's only going to get better. We have plans. We have comprehensive plans. It's a very sticky wicket when you look at every council member that's up here and think that we all pay into this. We all, the ones of us that live in the 702 homes, have to pay for this. I'm on a fixed income just like everybody else. I'm a working man out there. My wife and I, we work hard. We raised our children. We made a lot of sacrifices over the years to do what we did for our children. I'm not looking for compliments. I did it willingly. I knew what I was doing. So I take this position very seriously. I really want to find the best solutions to our issues that we have. It's going to be a huge issue. There's other things coming down the road too. This is just one of them in many things. If we want to so-called run with the big boys, guess what? That's how this is going to work. You're going to have to start pulling and paddling your own canoe. That's how this will work. For a long time, the town of Lake Clark Shores had their hands out. But thanks to a lot of these council members up here, we changed and we built those relationships and we changed those opinions of this neighborhood to what can we do for you? How can we help you? The barbecue was one of them. Probably not everybody out there agrees with the barbecue. I'm a community builder. Val, one of the best things you ever did was a kids movie night. What better way to bring the kids together and the parents together? The demographics here are changing. They're always going to change. They're going to go up. I'm joining the older demographic. I'm doing it willingly. I plan on hopefully being able to afford to live here till my dying days also. My wife has a different plan, but that's another story. So when we do these things, and we are in a paradigm right here, ladies and gentlemen, it's just begun right here. We will be filling 2 more positions. There will be a change of views. There will be a change of policies. I hope and I pray that everyone that sits up here has the best interest of everyone in the town at all times. And that's not always easy to do, because when I've always told Joanne and Charlie, I probably told you this, government does not run like business, but it should. It might be a little more efficient if it did, and things might be a little bit easier, but it doesn't. So we'll deal with all of these issues as they come. And wherever it lands, I believe that everybody will willingly accept the outcomes and we'll move forward. I just hope that we make all the proper decisions. So that being said, I am going to miss you guys. I came on here in 2007. I dug hard and dug deep into what some of the issues were for the people that were supporting me, to find out what exactly is going on. Some of them were valid, some of them weren't. The ones that were valid were addressed. The ones that weren't, we tried to fix, we tried to amend, we tried to change. We did all of these different things. We've had Albert up here, we've had John Studdard up here, we've had a bunch of different people with all different points of views. We all come from different worlds, different things that we do.
Paul back there?
Paul, how can I forget Paul? Paul, when did you come in here? You snuck in? Thank you for your service to the town too. I don't feel like it's thankless. I feel like it's a tough job. I accepted the job at $92.43 a month. When my children were living here, it didn't even pay my water bill. I have 4 daughters taking 45, 50-minute showers twice a day, trying to run water into a septic tank in a drain field that won't hold that kind of water. And my daughters, you think they'd listen? No. So I accepted the position at $92.43 a month. I still accept the position at that. I will work tirelessly for the town of Lake Clark Shores. When the people that say we put you up here, when they decide they don't want me up here any longer, I will accept that graciously. I'll know in my heart that I did all the right things and I tried my best, period. End of story. I never waver. I work very hard. Joanne, Dan Clark, Joe doesn't know me that well, but he'll see. COVID kind of interrupted a lot of stuff for us, but we were on a real roll before that. We were building relationships, changing the face of Lake Clark Shores from takers to givers. And that's the best we can do. We can just give. It's in giving you receive, right, Ed? Yes, sir. That's a good thing to do. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Lights of Festivals. All the best to everybody here. I wish nothing but the best for everyone. I have no ill will inside of my heart for anyone ever at any time. I just want to work hard for the town of Lake Clark Shores and find the best outcomes. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Thank you, everyone.